Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV Final Hours, episode 175. How y'all doing? We back for another week. Another Saturday has passed. Hopefully you had a stress-free week as possible, as always. See Regina in the chat. What up, Regina? Peace to Sir Duke in the chat. I am mini staycation. I still made it to the show, and thank you very much. Hope you and the family is having a safe, good time. Regina says I'm on my second or third nap too. Well rested. Gotta get your beauty sleep, Regina. Regina says Kamala has already been selected, and frankly, by default, is the prez. Be careful what you wish, hope, vote for. You just might get it and more. Very sinister way of putting it out. Honorable says, hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, another political-led show. Politics been very heavy. Obviously, the election's on the way, so we're going to spend some more time on it. We'll get some other stuff as well. What up, Mark? What's up? So we're going to talk about a couple of pop cultural things. We see a few people, few things came to an end. Some cases, some trials, and some new things started. Getting some commentary about how we view some of these things and the celebrations that maybe should not be had, and we're gonna talk a little bit about lineage again, some more later on, and we'll get right into it. Hold on, give me 1 second, please. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it. First story is one for celebration, I guess. Wayans brothers reunite for a new scary movie with Miramax and Paramount. So congratulations to them, I guess. When I saw this headline, I saw people talking about it, and we get another scary movie. The first thing I thought of, man, it sure would be nice if we began to work with studios that wouldn't take advantage of our creativity and steal entire IPs. Oh, not steal it, but we have to sell entire IPs to them in order to get financing so that they can then shelve it for decades and then push it back out when they want to make a few dollars when they can't make no money off any other franchise. Rather sad that a franchise like this has been turned into a money grab, really. This is really what this is. We'll get to a few other money grabs that's happened. But what y'all think about Scary Movie 6 supposedly on the way? Hold on, let me just get this up here.
I just can't with that history.
Excuse me. Didn't mean for that to come up. Scary Movie reboot now. Cinecon has finally come together with a franchise architect reuniting for the first time in 18 years. The new original screenplay. The earlier series was sent up of slashers like Scream, and I Know You Did This last summer. The new Scary Movie will shoot next year for a theatrical release. The Wayans and Rick Alvarez are producing the movie. The Scary Movie film franchise was developed by Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, and Keenen Ivory Wayans, yada, yada, yada. We know, and then they had to sell it off, and it's, quote-unquote, was kept from them. And I've heard people say that they thought something was coming with them when we started seeing them pop up in more interviews, and a lot of shows is coming from them, so it was kind of known that something was coming from them, at least. So apparently they have the new movie coming for the franchise. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very interested in it. It was a parody film, and I feel like a lot of the stuff they're gonna probably mock is gonna be dated. A lot of the pop cultural references they're gonna make is gonna be from like 2016. I just don't think you're gonna see the funniest film out of this. You said I'm breaking up. Hold on. Not on my end, Mark. Maybe it is though. Give it a second. Hold on. My end, everything seems to be great. But yeah, I don't know how interested I am in this movie, to be honest. Good for them. They're able to try and make some money off of it again. Although, like I said, it's just a money grab for the studio at this point. Yeah, congratulations to them, I guess. One more I want to show here. Martin Lawrence reunites with Sony for Blue Streak 2 sequel. It's starting, I'm being honest, it's starting to look like they're starting to just throw, with Martin at least, he's starting to just throw stuff out. So we heard about the Martin TV series, drama series, and he put out a little trailer. I don't know if that was an actual trailer or fan made, and it didn't look the best. And now we get the news about Blue Streak 2. I feel like a lot of these people are trying to be reintroduced. It's about Martin, and you got Eddie Murphy that popped up a few years ago after being kind of getting away from the media for the past decade plus. He did movies, but he wasn't really doing a lot of press. Now he's doing a little bit more press. They're trying to reintroduce these stars from yesteryears back because they can't create any more new stars. I don't get this one. Blue Streak was an okay movie. I think if you would have did a sequel back then, it could have been okay. But now it just seems another money grab, another quick movie to put out that from a movie that y'all already know, from a face you already know. It is what it is. This is what Hollywood has turned into at this point. We've been talking about it for the last couple of years. The creativity has been shot, and it is giving you low effort stuff at this point. Then I want to show this. Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and what's we call it, sat down to discuss some things together. And Bernie Mac came up. Oh, what up, Ashley? Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Shalom to you as well. And this is part of the reason why we always said, dead man can't tell no tale, dead man can't tell no secrets, dead man can't tell the truth. Because the topic of Bernie Mac came up, and it left a sour taste in my mouth because y'all can be sitting here lying about a lot of things, and he can't even address it. We've heard stuff through rumor about how he truly felt about Steve Harvey, at least, and now he's saying different in this little clip. I'm going to show what they had to say about Bernie Mac.
His own thing, but
it seems like, shout out to Ariel says, none of them even on their best day are funny. They can't compare to him at all. I'll give Cedric Entertainer. He could be funny. I'll give him that. But it's just weird to me how he tried to spin it to hit. People were saying that all of them treated him bad. No, the main narrative that came from the story was that you, Steve Harvey, went behind his back and tried to steal a role from him. The narrative is he didn't like you. That when he was on that behind the scenes footage of the Kings of Comedy tour, when he was saying these people would steal your jokes, there's a narrative or a rumor that he was speaking towards people like you, Steve Harvey. And also them saying that he was a person who was kind of standoffish, and not standoffish, but he was friendly, but he stayed to himself, minding his business, kind of pointed to how he carried himself in every interview I've seen where I'm a comedian, I do this for a living, but I don't want to be around none of y'all in none of those back rooms. I don't want to be around none of y'all at none of these parties. I'm not saying he never did it. I don't know. But around the time he passed, they are right. He was just starting to become a more household name. But that may be why, because he wasn't willing to do certain things and he decided to take the long road. But, it is what it is. As you said, did you ever hear the conspiracies around Bernie's death for speaking out about a lot of things? Yeah, I remember we played a video once of when he was doing his show, the Bernie Mac show, and they were doing a photo shoot, and the young boy on the show, in one of the pictures of the photographer, or at least the woman who's producing the pictures for them, she asked for him to sit on his lap. And he was like, no. He's staying right here beside me. He don't need to be on my lap. And he said certain things about the industry and a lot of stuff. So, it's unfortunate sometimes that when people pass away, especially it's associated with the industry, it comes with quote unquote conspiracies that they said something, so that's why they was killed. But it's not an impossibility, obviously. Regina says we're collectively living in exciting times during a reset, watching all the dirt come out to the surface. They capping. Exactly. I said reset indeed. Yeah, and it's funny how, and if we go into the conspiracy thing even further, I remember people were making the jokes that Cat Williams in his interview with Shannon Sharp opened some portal. You know, he said it's the year of truth. Everything will be exposed. All lies will be revealed and all this other stuff. And so much drama has been stirred up this year. So much turmoil and exposing and secrets and stuff being pointed out. Maybe it was already coming. Maybe, you know, Cat was just there to signal that the time was here, or something even more came from it. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely a reset. Although I thought that reset really happened in 2020. 2020 was another year that we, once again, this pandemic, that COVID thing kind of messed up time for me, because some things that you think happened 2 years ago happened 5 years ago. You got to remember that 2019, a lot of stuff happened that year, but 2020 was definitely a year where a lot of things I feel came to the light. I mean, people was making the whole 2020 situation, 2020 vision, you know, all reveal all the eyes and all that stuff in 2020. So yeah, but reset already happened. This is just the continuing of it to me. Another story, and a little Hollywood story. This is a quick story, nothing long, no big deal here. As I remember that photo shoot, they were trying to push the agenda. Yeah. Regina says facts 2020, but it's ongoing. All systems are being reset one at a time. Yeah, we not just from a spiritual situation, even from just this finance. You know, the economy, geopolitics. Everything is being realigned. I mean, we talked about this like 2 years ago, a year ago, where we were talking about how when you talk about the alliances between governments is changing. Now I'm gonna talk about it later with North Korea sending troops to Russia to help with Ukraine, and now America is saying that their weapons can be used against North Korea, telling them not to nuke South Korea. It's just the alliance are happening, and there's a change in power, a shift in power is attempted to be made by certain countries. But yeah. All right, look at this right here. This is just a quick story, nothing important, but Barack Obama reacts to stubborn daughter Malia's name change. Now, apparently, Barack Obama's daughter, who's now a director or a producer in Hollywood, I don't know which one, I think she's a director in Hollywood, she doesn't use her dad's name because she doesn't want to seem like she's a Nepo baby. Now, with strength, also, I believe the reason why she don't use his last name because it's obviously political, and any film that she's associated with the name Obama, there's going to be a whole audience that's just never going to watch it just because of that name. But it also shows how black, quote unquote, I'm going to use the quotes, black nepotism is looked at versus others. Because this is not even a thing for the most part in Hollywood when a person takes who has a name that's already established in that industry, when they decide to go into it. They're not changing their name. They're going to use that name to gain even more favor. Only people I've known in Hollywood, at least, to consistently change their last name is those people of that particular group, the Tiny Hats. They tend to change their name a lot for obvious reasons. Regina says, damn, the conspiracy theories are winning. No coincidence she's changing her name. He doth protest too much. Yeah. But I can also go into this idea of her changing her name could signify a lot of other things, especially when I say in Hollywood in general, how there's definitely this feminine energy, mother goddess situation going on where every movie, every producer, director has to be influenced to put certain energies or certain agendas in movies. And maybe she just doesn't want to be associated in her career with a masculine person, a prominent masculine person like Obama. And I'm not saying he's masculine from a standpoint of manly. I'm just saying as a man in general. Honorable says that she better use that name. Don't matter what she wants. She be calling her parents getting through. Exactly. I don't understand these people that, and I think this, once again, I understand Obama comes from a different background, allegedly. I know he's not of our ethnic group, but amongst black people, for whatever reason, there's this worship or this idea that the only way you can truly be proud of success is if you have a rags to riches story. It is much better if you're coming from a success to more success story. If your grandparents did it and then your parents did it better and then you did it better than them, that's the true way you want to do it. I understand it's not the story for most of us, but we shouldn't always see people get in these positions and expect them to almost, talk down on their good upbringing or the easier access they had to things. You should be proud of that. Virginia said this election is exposing the Obamas have lost their power already. Damn Negroes, that was quick. Yeah, Obama definitely don't have that magic, and we can all admit, regardless if you like him or not, we all say it all the time. Anybody you heard speak about him, whether they hate him or love him, he's a person who's a very good speaker. He's definitely not as good. It's not that he's not as good at it anymore. It's just people aren't listening as much. People just like we're past that. We're not falling for it anymore. At least some people, at least, because we know we talk this every 4 years. How black people are done with it and people are over, and then the vote comes back and we voted the same way. Ashley says her changing her name may be deeper than that. The Obama's production company was listed on a Leave the World Behind movie, and a good chunk of people watched it. Yeah, but also that yeah, that's a good point. But also there could be a certain audience, because I think the people that hate Obama did not watch that movie. Even if it wasn't him, they don't even want to support that name. So, and I remember there was a lot of backlash when the Obamas got associated with Netflix. So I don't know. Anima says there's only a narrative we know. The few that make it, the riches, are too happy to abandon community and fade into white. I gotta agree. But I will say we heard the stories, and we're gonna get to this later. We heard the stories about, the people try to come back to the hood and help, and the same people that are trying to help are looking at them like you think you're better than me because you made it out. And, unfortunately, that scarcity mindset is very pervasive in our community. And when somebody tries to give resources, it's never going to be enough sometimes. I'm not saying that's an excuse to not help, but some people just throw their hands up and decide to go the other way. Anna says, men. I'll let you get away with this because I always think it should be the men who are expected to do these things. But we don't talk enough about how it ain't either, men or women. But I will allow it to be at the foot of men because that's where it should be. So I'm going to let you go with that. Anyway. Let me show y'all this. Speaking of more celebrity stories, Halloween just passed. I want to tell me what y'all think of this video. Since we just talked about that agenda associated with Bernie Mac. Let me play this.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys taking pictures?
No, we're doing a video. She about to do the whole video.
Listen, I can't take this. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, indeed.
I know you see me on the video. True. I know you heard me on the radio.
Now, I'm not going to play the whole song because of obvious reasons, but he had his daughter and his daughters and his family dressed up and do this song.
He's a slut, he's a hoe, he's a freak. Got a different girl every day of the week. It's cool, not trying to...
I'll be undressed in the bra all see-through. While you count your jewels thinking I'ma cheat you. The only one thing I wanna do is freak you.
Now, Margot said, Obama lost to Bruce Leroy Glow when he decided not to invest in us. Well, I'm going to get to a new Obama next, too. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. Alma says, what woman celebrity returned to the hood and got jumped on? I didn't say she got jumped on. I was saying that black people in general get a certain level of resources and just move on and decide to build up another community. I wasn't saying that they was getting jumped on. Alma said, Envy trying to distract us again. This was a very strange video, only because we've seen people dress their kids up on Halloween and stuff as characters that maybe we considered, not this, extreme, but just certain adult characters, not nothing crazy, where it could be seen as amusing. It could be seen as funny. Why would you have your daughter dress up as Little Kim, considering what her image is, and two, that song? There's so much you could have did with this to make this a fun. Why are you having your kids dress up as some cartoon character, some young pop star? How did you dress your kids up to do a Little Kim video? Virginia said, "Oh, that's DJ Envy." Yes, it's DJ Envy. People was on his ass saying this is strange, this is weird. Why are you doing this to your daughters? Your daughter and playing a Little Kim. This is, but we know what it is. And as Honorable says, she said trying to distract us. I haven't kept up with it because it kind of faded away. But whatever happened with him in that fraud case with him and what's his name, Cesar Pena? Whatever happened with that situation? Did they said he was snitching at one point? He was trying to go turn state, or Did they just move along with their investigation? I don't know. I'm saying this the Caribbean side. This isn't seen as inappropriate to them. Virginia said, yeah, the fraud case died down quick. Very. It was hot for about 2-3 months, and it was hot now. It was hot. It was hot. Then it kind of cooled off, and now it's kind of faded into oblivion. Nobody's really speaking on it. The dude who was associated with the Cesar Pena, however you say his name, he's now an Uber driver. At least that's what he's putting out to the public. We know he probably still doing some dirt behind the scenes, probably, but I don't know. Say it's still active. The dude asking permission to be an Uber driver. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story I want to keep up with behind the scenes. I want to see if DJ Envy, DJ Envy in that situation, and I'll shoot him a little bit of bail. Reminds me a lot of what's going on with what's their name? The YouTube channel, what the black dudes who do financial advice, investing and real estate. I forgot their name. They've had a lot of scammers up there, and so if I introduce a scammer to the public without knowing they're a scammer, how guilty am I of what happens to them? I don't know. You should vet, I guess, but Ashley said this is the same DJ Envy that was eating birthday cake molded in Charlamagne's ass cheeks. They That's true. Earn your leisure. Thank you, Honorable. Earn your leisure. Yeah, that's who DJ Envy remind me of in this situation. He's earn your leisure. Yeah, the Breakfast Club, speaking of agendas, and Travis bring this up all the time. Like, y'all remember, I don't know if they still do it because I haven't watched the Breakfast Club in a while. Do Charlamagne still put those DJ Envy, Charlamagne dolls in the background in sexual positions? The man molded his ass cheeks with his ball sack included, by the way. That was just crazy. And gave it to another man. And that was funny, I guess. I don't know. But then Charlamagne's associated with some certain things, so he don't have about 11 shows given to him, so we know what he's willing to do. Anyway, Ashley said, Earn Your Leisure is a podcast, Duke. They're all scammers. Well, yeah, I try to give him a little bit of leeway because, maybe it's a situation where they're just looking for the viewership. They bring people on, they give them views, they can talk nice, and they're not really vetting these dudes' background to make sure they are authentic, Virginia said weirdos, exactly. Another quick story, I'm not going to stay on long, but I do want to show this and ask y'all about this. Judge Mathis, who seemed to got his wife back, by the way, shout out to him. She actually filed for divorce, but he made sure that the next time you saw him, she was standing by his side. But anyway, the Menendez bros deserve freedom, he said. I set them free if I could. What is up? Before I get to that, let me show this. I almost said they know they scammers. They scammers. Those people are paying $50K and they get kickback per person that join the program being offered. I'm going to ask y'all a question, too, on this right here. I'm going to go back to this Menendez stuff. If I tell you I can make you $1 million, or let me bring it down. If I tell you I can make you $10,000 a month if you sign up for my class that you have to pay for, who's really the person that's falling for the trick? Like at this point, like during COVID, people had this extra money because, some people was getting the stimulus, some people was, getting them PPP loans and they had the money, they was looking for a get rich quick scheme. But if you're making real, you're trying to be real about it. If somebody is telling you they can help you make 10, 15, 20K a month, first try, all you gotta do is sign up for my program and come on, man. Come on. Ashley said, I don't know any person against the agenda partaking that show, especially Dr. Umar. Cheaper to keep her, that's what I said. Say. Well, she wanted a divorce, so you're right, he might have been fighting to keep his money. But back to this. I only want to ask this question. I don't know much about the Menendez bros. All I've known about them, I've learned in the last month. Virginia said, yeah, I'm complicit too in the scheme. That's what I'm saying. Like come on. Everything I've learned about these dudes, I've learned in the last month or so. They killed their parents because whatever reason, now they're saying that their parents were, or at least the father was abusive to them sexually, possibly. Their story has been told many times. no one has thought that they should be released. No one. All my life, I've heard the name, but I've never heard nobody say free them. It's always been, oh, them dudes that killed their parents. Now, in the latest doc, or at least the drama doc that was done, the TV show, I'm hearing, I didn't watch it, is it true that they painted them as having some sexual curiosity? I know that now they're married to women. But from how I'm seeing in the last month, these dudes were in prison for killing their parents. Their story was told. People didn't care. Locked they in jail. A doc comes out that paints them as more victims and says that, oh, they were sexually abused. And by the way, they've had some possible relationships with men, but they're curious, but they're now with women. Is it possible the reason why there's this push for them to be released is because making them sexually fluid made them more appeasing to the public? And today's society, because society changed in the last 10, 15 years. So because of an alleged sexual difference in the last 20 years or so, because they're painted differently, now society is saying that they're victims and should be released and they've served the time for their crime. That's just how I'm viewing it right now. Honorable says, people who get caught up in the good black men narrative, they want to see y'all doing good and helping the community. What you mean good black men narrative? You saying there are no good black men? What you saying, Honorable? Honorable said, I tried to watch that series 4 times. I haven't even tried. Ashley said, this is why our people can't prosper. We literally prey on our own, guaranteeing they will never scam non-melanated folks. Unfortunately, how they scam black people, they really wouldn't have that opportunity to do the same to white people. Because even the poor white people ain't trusting no Negro to teach them how to get money. Because that's just, to them, it's an oxymoron. Niggas and money don't make sense. And the ones who do got a little money to spend, they at least have, I might be generalizing at this point, and I might be doing some level of disservice to our own people, but they might just at the lowest level have a slightly more financial literacy than us. I'm talking about the bottom. Like even, they got a little bit more. Now I'm not talking about the trailer park, Appalachian Mountains people. I'm talking about the working class black and the working class white. Unfortunately, because of history, they have a little more financial literacy than that certain class. Then it says, free them is trending now. I've noticed several podcasts are stated in, and plus their docs out, if I'm correct. Yeah, it seemed like because of that narrative that's been created about their possible sexuality, that there's now a new push to make them into victims. Oh, what up, Kiefer? I've seen celebrities. What's her name? Kim Kardashian, the one who acting like she's some, prison reform specialist. She's asking them to be released. Judge Mathis right here saying they should be released. I've seen many other celebrities say that, and I'm just, what is this new thing? It's like everything with these celebrities is just get your name in a pot to be talked about. Just be a part of the trend. Now that everybody's saying this, let's all just agree and just do it. And what's funny is they're probably going to get out because of this. This is crazy. Honorable says some poor whites get caught up in a few black scams. I've seen a few on Pocket Watch. They all have black partners. See? Oh man. But yeah, it's just different, history. So things just go about things differently. All right, let me show this. I don't gotta show. We just talked about it. Them talking about releasing them brothers. We already talked about that. We did it. Oh, another topic I want to get into. Hold on. All right. Young Thug released after changing plea to guilty in Georgia's longest-running criminal trial. Honorable says the sexuality narrative is new. Claims sexual abuse by the same sex keep a lot of people off death row. Yeah, I've seen that with wives who killed their husbands. They'll say, I was abused. Even if it's not true, they'll use that excuse. Hell, people use that in child custody battles. One of the parents will accuse the other of abuse or some form of abuse at least. So yeah, I understand that, but it's not just that they were sexually assaulted. They're saying that they painted it as they had some dealings with the same sex, consensual. So I'm just saying they softened him up with that, and it's crazy how in this society that's enough to make you innocent. But yeah, Young Thug is out, and I see people celebrating, and I'm just thinking, I don't want to be that person. Same sex abuse as children, yeah. I want to be that person, and we tend to ignore, you know, when the storyline is good, and hip hop especially, we tend to ignore the details. But did we forget what he's accused of? He's accused of heading a gang that was killing people all through Atlanta. Allegedly was on a phone call telling someone to end someone, violate them, as they say, super violate them. Remember that? He's getting out now, and it's like, well, is that a good thing? I mean, we just seen Little Dirk right now got a Fed case because allegedly someone he loved was killed, and he wanted to get back, and now they found out that he might have had a dealing in some form of get back, and now he's getting charged and may get life or the death penalty. Like, okay. Honorable says, I didn't know he could admit it to guilt. He got off easy. Well, he didn't admit to guilt for the running of a gang organization. I think he basically no contest to that. He didn't say he's guilty, but he didn't say he's not guilty. He just kind of, you know, whatever you want to infer based off of evidence. I was around him. That don't mean I was the head of the gang. The agreement, which includes probation and time served, ends the Atlanta rap star's part in the sprawling trial that began with jury selection in January of 2023. And when I saw this, Fannie Willis, I remember, I think it's her name, Fannie, when she came out and said, we're coming after all these gangs and all that stuff. And I just thought to myself, man, if she would have just left Trump alone, she might would have got Thug. But because of the Trump situation and what happened with that, with her and the man that she was messing around with, it kind of, and a lot of other stuff that was associated with it, it just messed up her, both cases. So now 2 cases that could have made her a star. These are star building cases. And she's pretty much lost both. And just like, damn. Atlanta rap star Young Thug released from jail Thursday night after changing his plea to guilty earlier in the day in Georgia's longest running criminal trial. He averted prison time with a probation, bringing in a stunning, close to a chapter of a case that he riveted the court watchers for nearly 2 years. The plea changed by the rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, appeared to be a brink of not happening after Superior Court Judge Paige Whitaker asked if he agreed to a non-negotiated plea. That means prosecutors and defense could not come to a sentencing deal that the judge would ultimately decide his punishment. Now, he got 15 years probation, and on the back end, if he messed up, he get 20 years. I heard a lot of people saying that that's a setup, that he can't be around gang members. He can't go to Metro Atlanta area for 10 years. He's banned. He can't make music associated with gangs or anything like that, violence. I'm sure he can't be around felons. And if that's his friends group or his family group, like you asking, more than likely he's not gonna be able to do that unless he just flat out just cut a lot of people off. So I think it's a setup. I'm just gonna say free Dirk. Then says crazy regarding Fannie. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm says his attorney a new hood superstar. Oh yeah, he gonna be at every celebration that Young Thug had. The cases he got coming in gonna be how they said the prices. Today's price is now yesterday's price is not today's price. He's gonna be very expensive. He's probably gonna be Young Thug's lawyer for the rest of his life. So it is what it is. Arnold said 4 free concerts annually in metro area is hilarious. Yeah. Gang prevention concert. So a concert dedicated to talking against gang violence and joining gangs and stuff. Yeah. I guess that's just meant to. I'm banned from the area unless I'm there promoting non-gang violence, I guess. So, okay. People will enjoy the concerts, I guess. But if I do those concerts, but I'm not allowed to talk about gang stuff in my songs, can I not play my old songs? Because if I can play my old songs, then the people in Atlanta gonna love it. I can play my old hits, all the other stuff. That's cool. Ashley says, yep, honorable pocket watchers love exposing scammers. He exposed EYL and they pressed him in public. Yeah, they try to punk him in public. He stood his ground though. All gas, no brakes. What up? He was already doing that, and now they're making him seem like he's going to be a punishment. Well, that's what they want to do. They have to get some wind in public. Let's be honest. This was the state of Georgia versus him, and he made them look stupid. It looked clumsy. It looked completely unprofessional. They had to replace the judge multiple times. People was laughing, and they're a laughing stock right now, which is why he took that plea deal, because the last thing he want to do is to have them either retry him in a mistrial, try to retry him because they're gonna get him next time. And he definitely don't want the Fed to step in and put a RICO out and just take that RICO and make it a Fed case. So let me say I'm guilty now, take the 15-year probation and go on about my life and try to stay on the right track like Wallow. Wallow was on probation for 20 years after serving 20 years in prison. After he been out for 5 years, 6 years or something. They finally said, okay, you've been public work, you've been out here promoting positivity and stuff. We're not going to make you serve 20 years probation. And we could talk about that probation thing being a complete racket. I have to pay to be on probation. Then if I mess up, I go to prison. And then I got to pay while I'm in prison, which is crazy. Honorable says he can go for weddings, hospitals, emergency, and funerals. That's it. Honorable says wasted a lot of money. So they're going to be on his back for the next couple years, definitely. They're going to want to get him real bad. So if I'm him, I might just leave. I don't know if he can. I think he still has his passport. He still can travel and do his work. I might just leave Georgia, man. Just leave. He said probation is definitely a racket. Definitely. It's all fake. I saw now recently, like a couple months ago, a dude on probation. He had a ankle monitor on. The ankle monitor now has a voice box on it so that the person keeping track with you can talk to you and tell you, hey, why are you not where you're supposed to be? Hey, this is crazy, man. Yes, people have to pay to be on probation. It's a whole racket. It's all about money. Fining. Everything in this country is about fines and making bread for the state. Even if you look at parking tickets and all the other stuff, why does this exist? What are you talking about? But anyway, let's move on. Another case right here. Amid mounting community pressure, Minneapolis police arrest man accused of shooting his neighbor. A white man allegedly shot his black neighbor in Minneapolis while police waited days before making an arrest. I watched the video, and it's not a long video. I saw a clip of the video. I'm not going to play it here. The man was literally in his yard with a chainsaw, I believe, cutting a bush, and he just dropped to the ground because the man shot him. Apparently, the thing he was shot him from the not the roof, but from his second floor or something. Shot him. He landed right on his back. People found out about it. People made an uproar about why he's not arrested. The police were, I don't know if they were afraid. I don't know what. They decided not to go arrest this man immediately. He's a known white, exactly, a known white supremacist. The white man accused of shooting his black neighbor in the neck last week has an extensive history of threats, harassment, and property damage against numerous neighbors. Over a 2-year period, and evaded arrest by holding up in his home, court records show. So the police, because they know he got a gun, they know he'll bust his weapon, they decided whatever he's accused of something, he's going to hold up in his home. It ain't worth trying to get him out. He's a police. It reminds me of those police down in Texas when that man went into that school and shot those poor kids, and the police sitting there waiting for backup instead of going in trying to get the man as soon as possible before he killed more kids. Y'all would rather him terrorize his neighbors rather than do your job. The 54-year-old had 2 outstanding warrants against him for an alleged year-long campaign of harassment, targeting, and shooting victims, as well as a 3rd warrant charging him with assaulting another neighbor in 2022, according to court documents. Now, Minneapolis Police Department once again finds itself in the center of a controversy over race and policing after failing to arrest the man on an active warrant before he allegedly shot Davis Maturi on October 23rd, and then waiting several days before taking the alleged shooter into custody. Honorable says conflicted by these stories. I feel like he told black people he loved them people and moved closer to. I know what you mean. A defense attorney said that clients denies the allegations. He did not enter a plea or arraignment. John Miller, CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analysis, said there are many factors complicating how police responded to ongoing neighborhood dispute, including that the city's police force has significantly been reduced since 2020. Oh, boo. The defund the police situation really harmed our officers. Isn't there a movie based off of that? Rebel Ridge. Did y'all ever go see that movie Rebel Ridge with the dude from the UK, the light-skinned dude who's now playing Green Lantern? Rebel Ridge, the whole movie is about the police officers did something dirty, got sued like they should have, lost a lot of money, and now they don't have enough money to fund their department. So now they scam people by charging them with a crime, not reporting it at the right time so they can get money thrown back at them. Popo, no dude is dangerous and scared themselves. Regina, the blacklist taught me the types of whites is afraid of. LOL, and shake my head. That's why I agree, Regina, and that's why I was so disappointed during the pandemic. Shutting down business, I just knew there is no way these white people are going to let them roll over on them and take over their businesses and make them stay home. And there's no way. And they went with it. They just got. I was shocked they allowed that to happen. People said it was good. It was. I can't lie. I didn't enjoy the end. I didn't like the whole non-lethal point. I get it. That's the point of the movie. He was a non. It's obviously a non-lethal version of Rambo. Obviously. So the whole point was he was training. He was a trained military. I forgot if he was in the Marines or Army. I can't remember. Marines or whatchamacallit. He was a trained non-lethal specialist. I get it. Weapon specialist. But come on, man. The end just, I don't know. Maybe I'm too bloodthirsty now. Maybe I've been desensitized to murder. Virginia says Rebel Ridge is a cautionary tale regarding black men's relation to everyone else and his responsibility to take care of everybody, leaving himself last. Exactly. Like, another point. I don't mean to spoil the movie. Nobody's watched it. Apologies. Your brother, that happens to your brother, and you're willing to go about your life. All right, what's the last thing y'all hear me talk about? We were talking about Rebel Ridge, I think. Sorry about that, y'all. My apologies. We were talking about Rebel. We passed that now. You spoiled the movie. My bad. All right, all good. We good. All right, we talking about Rebel Ridge. Yeah, y'all get the point. I made the point already. But yeah, so this white neighbor shot his black neighbor. They didn't want to arrest him because they were scared he was going to do something to them. He's denying all the claims, saying he didn't do it. Although I don't know how he could deny. We saw video of it, dog. I don't get it. But yeah, I agree. I think Regina said about how they know who to mess with. But yeah, times has changed, man. I don't think they're as scary of them as they once were. They're not as scared of them as they were. Let me show you all. Let me show y'all. Y'all probably already seen him, obviously, but he looked like the type that's in his house, with fatigues on, shooting at people, saying racial slur. He looked like the type. Child of sound, the found is fine now. All right. Keep it you. Oh man. He looked like the type that's in his house, barricaded inside his house with his couch just flipped to the door with a rifle hanging over it, saying that he's ready for the end. But it is what it is. There's other stories that happen where, they go into detail about certain things. I don't got to go through all of it. We know we already talked about it. And obviously this came back to the George Floyd situation because this is the same state in the city. I mean, so Frankenstein. Oh man. All right. Let's move forward. Now we back. I should show the video of them talking about the case now since I just spoke on it. I'm going to show a video of them talking about it.
Questions tonight over a shooting in Minnesota after a white Minneapolis man was charged for allegedly shooting his black neighbor, but so far has not been arrested by police. Dana Griffin has the details.
This was a shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
The bullet went down through my neck and then all the way back to my spine.
Matori told NBC affiliate KARE 11 he's also recovering from broken ribs and a concussion. Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshack. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshack suffers from mental illness. Shawshack has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail. Police allowing him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
The likelihood of an armed, violent...
So they're allowing a man who they say have a mental illness to stay in his home rather than forcing him, and this might be me being a bit of a hypocrite, forcing him to go get some mental help. Although I don't know if I support the state or a city being able to force someone out of their home into a mental institution because that can be used as That's been used at least against innocent people as well. So I don't know if I like that, but I'm being a hypocrite right now. Lock them up.
Confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
That excuse sparking community outrage.
We have to take violent criminals off the street.
This is not funny, but I always find it funny because of narratives and stereotypes that have been forced on black people. That when you have black people on the news saying something that's correct, by the way, you got to get these criminals off the street. It's always funny to me.
So I'm not a police officer. I don't know how that gets done, but I know it needs to get done.
Police say Shawshank.
Jenny said he looks like the scary character in the Blacklist, aka the white man, the real Slim Shady. Yeah, the Blacklist. They killing any more innocent black men because of boats recently on that show. I can't even watch that show no more since they did that. I can't do it. People said that's a shame, really sad. Yeah, it definitely is. He said cops on code. That too. Because if that was, we just saw a story with the older black woman who allegedly was have some level of mental problem she was having, or she has at least. And she said, she said those comments to that cop in that house, and he shot her because out of fear. So we see it's not treated the same, obviously. Ash said they all need to be sued. Yep, them, the cop, everybody need to be sued. He said his wife Caucasian. Now doesn't matter, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. I don't think they brought it up here, at least.
Rarely leaves his home, and the department has not set an arrest date.
We are not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation, but we will ensure the community will be safe.
So you won't go in and get him because you're afraid to get into a shootout, but you'll let him continue to shoot his neighbors. Like, come on, man.
Corey says he feels the Minneapolis Police Department failed to protect his family by not arresting his neighbor when they needed them most.
If you're saying
he's telling a man who was shot by his neighbor that we're trying to do what's best for the community.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
you're scared, what does that do to me? Like, you have this body armor, you have professional training.
Dana Griffin, NBC.
Man, they ain't going up in there, bruh. They said deal with it yourself. Regina said that was a one-time deal. Duke and probably code for something. Yeah, probably, but I couldn't get past it. It just it pissed me off so bad. It was his boat. How you gonna shoot? How you gonna kill me for being on my boat? Why are you on my boat with? Anyway, I can't get into it. Whatever. Honorable said, had the dude had died, would this still be the response? Oh no, if the dude had died, it would have been rest in peace. We failed, but we're gonna do what's right for the community in the future and all the other stuff. Right now, he could be defensive because he lived. He could be somewhat defensive. By the way, y'all seen? Speaking of shows, have y'all seen a new season of that show From? People said the chat is being edited. Oh, what you mean? They blocking people or something? Oh, you put up a emoji and they put something else. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, I forgot. 2 weeks ago, somebody told me that somebody was blocked. I don't think they're blocked on our end. YouTube will block you. We found out 2 years ago because Travis was leaving comments on YouTube trying to argue with people. I'm joking. But he was only leaving comments on YouTube, and he was getting no interaction. He was like, okay, people just ignoring him, I guess. Turns out YouTube has him shadow banned. If Travis leave a comment on a video or respond to someone from his account, you will not see it. YouTube has it shadow banned. There are a lot of comments on our channel. We get comments on our videos, but you never see comments on none of our videos because the second the person comment, YouTube will shadow ban and it'll erase the comment. We can't see it. We can't respond, nothing. Okay, I see what you're saying, Keeper. The YouTube playing games, that's all I got to say. Not yet regarding From. Yeah, I seen the new season of From. Let me know when you get around to it. Adam says that black guy does have a white wife. Some say that's what he added to the main bothering him for months. Might be. Kaboom the house. Okay, yeah, that's probably why they did that. Yeah, but YouTube definitely. I didn't know they edit stuff. I didn't know they do that. He would say it erased 3 of my comments. Yeah, I guess that's their way because a lot of people was complaining that people weren't able to leave comments because they had people shadow banned. So instead of shadow banning people now, they're just editing, and some of them they're just erasing. Period. And the YouTuber has no ability to do nothing about it. I know like 2-3 years ago, the comments would affect the video. So if I make a video about bubblegum But somebody in the comments is talking about kill, murder, shoot. YouTube would not show the video, would not recommend the video to a lot of people because the comments were of a certain nature. So people complain about that. So now they just flat out erase comments. I guess, as you said, edit them. So I haven't seen your notification for almost 7 months. I just seen this one. Shadow ban is real, definitely. It's never done that to my comments before. Hey, it happens to all of us. At some point, they get you. Can you dispute that? No, you can't do nothing about the comments. You can't do nothing about the comments. YouTube dictates what people are allowed to say on your videos. That sounds crazy, but it's their platform. And at this point, there's no need of complaining. You're either going to deal with it or leave. That's what you got to do at this point. It's theirs. You can't do nothing about it. Which is why I was happy like last year or the year before when they were talking about making some of these platforms. Quick story, not quick story. That's not a quick story, but I'm not going to stay on this article for long. I'm moving another one. I know y'all saw the story of the pedo who assaulted and ended the little black girl who went to prison, was on a 20-year to life sentence, and he was killed in prison. So congratulations. Congratulations to him getting the end that he deserved. But there has to be some more to talk about with this. I'm sorry. We got to get to it. So the man's name was Robert Fisher. So Fisher was 34, was convicted of drugging and assaulting and killing a 3-year-old girl in July 2023. Now, there was another man named 51 who was killed the same day, but that's not the one I want to focus on now. But now, Robert Fisher, he was serving a 16-year sentence and had arrived. That's the other guy I'm talking about, the Robert Fisher guy. Robert Fisher was introduced to LaQuisha Cunningham, mother of the toddler Jocelyn Cunningham, by a neighbor in, I can't say that name, in the county they lived in. A few days, Fisher stole her prescription medication and used it to drug Jocelyn before he assaulted the little girl, according to the district attorney office. Now, I was so mad when I read that line. And I tried not to make it about, other circumstances. I wanted to focus on the dude and how evil he was, the demon that he is for the crime that he committed. But I could not ignore that line. Yes, it was a black woman. It was a black child. So this woman, LaQuisha Cunningham, met this man. I'm sorry, y'all. I do not want to blame the mother. I'm not blaming the mother. But I could not read that line without getting absolutely furious. You brought this man. Forget that he's white. That's 0.1% of the problem. You brought this man around your daughter after meeting him for a couple days and allowed him in your house to be around your daughter. What are we doing? Now, I read this article here. This article is The Sun. The Sun spoke on it. She has a son that doesn't live with him, I guess. He's older, obviously. He doesn't live with them, and he spoke on it. And the way he spoke on it versus what the article just said is something totally different. Now, first I heard that he was a family friend that was trusted. Then I heard that he was just some dude she met a few days prior, introduced to her by a neighbor. So you met this dude, and I'm sorry for the way I'm speaking on it. I don't mean to speak on this way. You laid up with him, allowed him to peruse through your house afterwards, and then he do this heinous crime to your daughter. So look at this. Early in the morning of July 7, 2023, police responded to a call. This is the Sun. This is the Sun that's saying this. Early in the morning, not the Sun, this part, but the Sun, this article is from the point of view of the Sun. Early in the morning of July 7, 2023, police responded to a call at the home in New York that my mother, when her then boyfriend, so he was referring to this Caucasian dude as his mom's boyfriend, but she's only known him for a few days. Robert Fisher and my 3-year-old little sister, Catherine Cunningham. On July 9th of this year, about a year after that horrible morning, Fisher, 34, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree rape of an attack on Josie. The details of Fisher's crime have been hard for me to accept. Fisher admitted that he drugged her with the mother's pills and attacked her, and then wiped her down with Clorox bleach, rubbing her skin off because he was rubbing her skin so hard with the Clorox. When the mother called 911 saying Josie was unresponsive, police arrived and told everyone to exit. Fisher's defiant denial of involvement as he was forcibly restrained by the police, and his initial plea was not guilty. Starkly highlight that day, August 2nd, starkly highlight the injustice we confront. I have been focused on propelling this personal tragedy from local anonymity to national prominence. Ashley said, LaQuisha, was this a black woman? Yes, terrible. Arnold says, a few days. Virginia says, a lot of times women are just too trusting too soon, even for themselves, let alone the child. I mean, just look at him. Their eyes alone are a red flag. And that's what I want to say. The first person I blame was the father. In none of these articles, none of these videos, the story news, the father is mentioned. Now, I don't know his story. Maybe he's passed away. Y'all may know more than me. Maybe he's he's not around. He's incapable of being around. Or maybe he's a deadbeat. I don't know. But if he is alive and healthy and well, and you're not in your daughter's life, and you find out she was taken away in this way, her last moments were complete fear and just the anger that I had when I read this story, y'all. I'm sorry if I was so angry. The woman you had a child with did something. I know the anger and the guilt he should feel, but just not being there to protect her. I said too many women thirsty for and more, moving a man into help with the bills, throw the mother in jail too. Disgusting. And the mother's not mentioned in any of the articles as well. It's just her name. I didn't see any article where she gave any, I'm pretty sure at the trial maybe she spoke. I don't even know. I said people move crazy fast today. Like, damn. I said, where you get laid up narrative from? My point is, this man was living with her. The son referred to him as a boyfriend. The other article by New York Post said that they only known each other for a few days. So that's not enough to call somebody a boyfriend. So clearly he was in the house. I saw another post that said that he was babysitting. So she clearly was in a relationship with him. Either she was there. It's only two things that could have happened. Either you were there in the house, sleep or something, and he did this, or you were out and about. Maybe you were at work. Maybe you were out shopping. Maybe at a friend's house, and he was there with your daughter. Only one or two things is true. Either way is bad. It was just a terrible story all around. There's so many guilty parties involved. There's so many people should be ashamed of themselves. Jen said, your anger is warranted due to too much unnecessary recklessness going on these days. It's just crazy. Like I said, I saw people pointing out that he was white. Look, him being white is the smallest part of the problem. Why is he around your daughter? Like, if you're gonna fool around, the least you could have did is kept him away from your house. There's no reason he should have ever stepped foot in your house at all. But it is what it is. And I hope there's an actual reason the father's not around. Because if he has no real reason to not be around, as in not alive, or maybe he's incarcerated, even then I would still blame him. There's a lot of guilt you should hold for this. But I'm done with my rant now, y'all. But yeah, in the article, and another reason I got mad, because in the article, the son, he's talking about, the trauma that his family went through and the stuff they're dealing with, and that's understandable. But in the article, he tried to paint it as this idea of black children and them not being protected, which is a fact. Black children not protected. We know they suffer a lot of things they should never go through in our community, and we need to do better. But that second part is what I mean. We need to do better. You can't paint this on the system. This was people making terrible judgment, terrible discernment, left and right. Virginia says, right, and that's what a motel, hotel, Holiday Inns are for. Keep them away from your baby. That's what I'm saying. Why is he around your children ever? Within a few days? Come on, bro. 2024, you can find people's background just by public database. Shake my head. Exactly. But as whatchamacallit says, Ashley said, they be thirsty for just get some love and they lonely. So Ashley said, but don't you see the trend of this happening? The trend of like I said, it is a fact that this is happening too much, especially to black children. We see situations where, especially when we talk about in the system, how they get treated, how they're kind of thrown around, and people just only adopt children or around children just for money breaks and all the other stuff. But this is the instance where it ain't the system. This particular instance, that's what I'm saying. I want to show some grace to him because of what happened to his sister. But brother, you got to put a little bit. You got to put a lot more there at your mother's feet. A lot. The main should be the dude, obviously, but a lot of that got to go at your mother's feet and the father. Before we start getting to the system on this story, Ashley said it's not a coincidence. It's happening all the time to black children. The neighbors who made the intro are such too. Maybe because they clearly know him. They know him more. They knew him, and then they introduced him to her. Yeah, it might be something up with them too. And apparently, in the son's story, when he says that there was so much proof in the story, they had interviews and all other stuff, character witnesses. It's like, wait, if there were people who got on the stand against him to do a character witness against him, saying that he probably is somebody who would do something like this, then why would y'all even allow him in the neighborhood, number one? And why would y'all introduce him to someone with a 3-year-old? But anyway, Virginia said this is our good reminder that we need to return to our spiritual system and our common sense, which is so uncommon. It reminded me of that movie, Precious. How she allowed a man to molest her daughter because she wanted to be in a relationship. And then she was so unwell mentally, she started to have jealousy and envy towards the daughter. And that's a lot of, I'm just being honest, unfortunately, because of our history in this country, and it's created this certain mentality in our community that we have to get away from. Not everybody, obviously, but it exists. We got to find a way to heal those old wounds. I'll just say, I'll end it with that. Oh, what up, Dre? What's good, y'all? It's been a minute. What up, man? What's up? I'm about to move on from this topic now, y'all. I got my rant off now, but yeah, it's just a sad story all around. Yeah. All right, let me get back to this one too. Virginia says, Precious is a deep self-hatred, self-loathing, trauma-based movie, isn't it? Yeah. And at the time, it's one of those movies that I hate that it exists. Because it's just so, everything about it just, my God, this shouldn't even be a movie. This is not entertainment. This is not entertaining. But unfortunately, that does exist. So some of the worst movies sometimes aren't as fake as we want them to be. He said a true story happened in Baltimore. Yeah. So unfortunately, a lot of situations where, the fathers are run out on the family, or he passed away, or some way he's not able to be there to protect his family and provide for him. And unfortunately, a lot of women make decisions like this. Sometimes because of just feeling desperate, lonely, and they make these terrible decisions. So, and I know she probably feels a lot of guilt for it. So it is what it is. So rest in peace to the young girl, and shout out to the fact that it was men in prison, and I'm pretty sure they were black. Unfortunately, that's another thing we have to say, unfortunately, too, considering the numbers. It took them to get real justice for this little girl. Well, they killed them. They did what they were supposed to do. What was supposed to happen by the state, they did it for them. So congrats, shout out to them. And they might have did some shit that we want them out of here for, but at least they did something righteous in their life. We could say that. They ended it with something righteous at least. All right, let me show this video here. Because a little while ago, this topic comes up every once in a while. We start talking about the history of black men in this country, and the narrative that historically, Tracy, y'all talking about Kristen Rock? No. No, we're not talking about her. We're talking about a story of a young 3-year-old girl who was assaulted and ended by some white dude who was her mother allowed him around the kid after a few days, and he ended up being a pedophile and ended her life. So it's a sad story. But I talked about this narrative that black men in America, y'all talking about that college. We talked about that too, Dre. We talked about that too. I talked about in America that not every story ended with some black man allowing something to happen to his family, whether it be his kids or his wife, and not doing nothing about it. And that narrative was created to paint black men as cowards. That you hear these stories about these, back in the day during Jim Crow, these Caucasian men would go around and do stuff to black women, or black wives, should I say, the wives of these black men, and they wouldn't do anything about it. And I said, that's just not, That's not historically true. It wasn't a lot of that boy going on, especially in the South, because you only did that when you were like, you had to. Like, you were outnumbered. It was nothing you could do. This story right here is a story that I've been talking about for the longest, where a lot of black men, especially a lot of them that moved up north, are up north because they had to protect their family or themselves down south. And after doing that, obviously you're going to have the whole town after of you, so you disappear. A lot of black people's last name is not really their last name. A lot of people with the last name Jones are really Hobsons. A lot of people with the last name Gibsons are really Hawthorns or whatever, because their dad had to move, or their grandfather at least had to move upstate to get away from the law because they had to protect somebody, or they had to, they just wasn't going to deal with the disrespect or the humiliation. So let me just play this.
Nickname is Killer Red. I came from the south side of Chicago, 43rd Street. I was born here in Chicago, Cook County Hospital.
It's funny how every state got a certain way they say their name too, because people from Chicago said it the same way, Chicago.
Where did your parents come from?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. What part of Mississippi?
Jackson,
Mississippi. And they came here during the Great Migration, looking for employment.
My old man had to get out of town.
Oh, okay, same story. Hey, it's crazy because just about everybody I interview, it's the same thing. And with my grandparents, it was the same thing. Had to get out of town. So it was just funny to say that.
So yeah, a lot of these older black men, or your grandfathers, great grandfathers, unfortunately in my generation, I don't know if y'all generation, my generation, we didn't get to speak to quote unquote Big Mama, because by the time I was born, she was already passed away. So I had my grandmother, my mother, and grandfather, but they don't have that same ability to tell the stories, or at least the information sometimes. Unfortunately, our family hides a lot of secrets. They tend to hide the secrets even from the people they shouldn't hide them from. But a lot of our grandfathers, great-grandfathers or whatever, they had to, commit a crime. They had to kill someone, and they had to get out of town. And you hear the stories about, granddad passed away, or he joined the army, or, something happened. But he really didn't. He just had to get up out of there because they were going to do something to him. He said, I want to know if she was a divester. I don't want to make jokes on that, but yeah, that'd be crazy if she was. Grace says, oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. What I missed, who that? Exactly, they changed the name to Jackson or King, which was common. Rather told you tragic story. I know, says Regina, you are witnessing with her story with the struggles of two-parent household, poverty, and parents not knowing when to stop having kids. As she said, facts, Duke, I know a story or two. White men raped a pair of twin sisters so bad they were going girls to the point where they were never able to have kids. Older three black brothers to kill. Yeah, it wasn't that not doing it. It was revenge. It was very much normal for a lot of those. Sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of those race wars that happen were a response to, were a adjacent response to some black man getting off. So you'll have a situation where some Caucasian man would commit something against somebody black. Some black people would get them back, and then months later, the white people would find any reason to set it off. They couldn't find those black men, so they would find any reason to set it off on the whole neighborhood, or at least the whole city or the whole area. They would find a reason because they couldn't find those men. Mickey Barnes had to take somebody out in North Carolina, then he ran to Philly before he came to New York. Yeah, it happened a lot more than people think back then. But yeah, I'm just glad that those gentlemen were able to put that out there, let it be known. I saw in the comments on that video, or at least on that tweet, a lot of people was giving stories in their family, how they had their grandfathers or fathers had to do something and had to get out of town, and how it was very much normal back then. After said the youngest brother was told to run away up north because the older brothers wanted him to have a good life. Yeah, imagine that sacrifice. Imagine something happening to your sister, and at that point, it ain't no question what I'm gonna do. Like it is, we gonna do what we gonna do at this point. Forget all that. But having the ability to tell at least one of your brothers, hey, now you gonna do it this way, because we know it's over for us more than likely. Even if we survive this, we would have to be on a run. It's just, you know, so why don't you, even if you're with us, why don't you go do something better? Imagine that sacrifice, that time. That's why I said we romanticize Jim Crow a lot more than we should. People say those, you know, oh, we had our own businesses, our own neighbor. Look, man, yeah, but it came with a lot more stuff. That's why I don't like that. I don't like when people say, you know, I'm not my ancestors, implying that they're stronger, they're not going to take the BS. No, your ancestors went through way more than you know, and they held it down. So I want to give praise to them for the stuff they went through and were able to survive and conquer some of them. So it is what it is. He never got to say goodbye to his family, left and never came back, never saw them again. Yeah, that happened with a lot of fathers and their kids. They weren't able to see their kids. They weren't able to see grandkids. They had to just stay away. Now, in some cases where the man escaped up north, they were able to get the family at some point because they got a good job and made the money. You know, send for them to come up. Normally Chicago and New York, they would make enough money to send for them, but not all the time, you know. Sacrifices, man. All right. Let me show this now. Detroit 2, yeah, Detroit 2, definitely. I wanted to say, I don't know why Boston came to my mind for some reason. I might be crazy for saying that, but I I saw a lot of people saying Boston too, but I might be wrong. All right, let me play this video here. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I might. The streamer group, I guess I'll call them a streamer group. AMP did a sit down where they were talking about a bunch of stuff, and they were copying that other channel that do that whole debating between two different factions. They try to come to a meeting in the middle, and they were talking about who should be able to say the N-word. This shouldn't even be a topic, I know, but I wanted to show that things that they said were just internet topic. I mean, not internet groups and not important in the real world, and people outside of don't know what this is. It's clearly not true. I've seen people from the highest of highs, but by high I mean famous, to the people we think are just small people on the internet. They all know about this whole lineage-based thing that's going on. So let me just play this video.
I'm from Miami, right? Okay. So Hispanics and blacks are deep down there in all the poor neighborhoods. We grew up around Cubans since 1981. They live on the block just like us. They got mouthful of gold just like us. They talk like us. That's all they know. Now, if they might go to y'all states and city and y'all not cool with that, they might get flipped. They might get killed.
You say the Cubans grew up with y'all, right? They leave Miami and go to the A. Somebody checked them about saying nigga. What's their excuse?
They might get flipped.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
They gonna get flipped.
So, but it's wrong now.
I love the word. I feel like it's a derogatory way to use the word, and it's a cultural way to use the word.
So who can say it to you then?
In your friend group, and you chilling, and that's how y'all talk. It's just a way of speaking. It's not like you're not coming at them. Like you're not.
Now you see these two different people, one from seemingly New York, and one from Florida. The Florida dude, he allows these Spanish dudes to say the N-word, but he have an understanding of, if y'all go outside this friend group, y'all might get flipped. It might happen to you. It is what it is. So he's creating, at least, and we can disagree with him allowing them to even say it, but at least he put boundaries on it. Hey, you better make sure you say it around just this people in this state and around us. Because if you go outside this group and something happens to you, it is what it is. Versus the New York dude who's defending the use of the word in general. He wants these people to be able to say it in general. It's just too... It's funny how there's just two mindsets about people who do the same thing. They both allow non-black people to say it around them, but one has an understanding of only around me. Almost says black men with the they like us narrative is so sickening. I have to agree with the whole. I'm not gonna put it on just black men though. I ain't gonna go agree with you on that one. I think black people who allow that whole you invited to the barbecue stuff. I hate all that stuff. Mark going to say I am tired of this. Everyone knows this is a Black American word. They have their own term of endearment. Some of our people are part of the blame for it. It is. I would say most of the problem came in the 90s and the 2000s. Because I remember back then, my father, my uncles and aunts, they would say you just didn't talk a certain way around other races. Like what we call, what they call ebonics, or the way black people speak, the way we speak. That you only spoke that way around your own, and you didn't go out of your way to try to explain it to other groups. You got whole YouTube videos, TikTok accounts that every day tell other races what words mean that we use. Like, what are you doing? You used to be able to have a whole conversation next to another demographic and they wouldn't know what the hell we talking about. It was like having your own language. Now it's just, they're just giving all the sauce away. He said, but this is for the dude from Haiti or Jamaica, or is he an FBA? Just asking. And the New York dude might be Caribbean or African, also which might let the N-word slide, just saying. Well, yeah, I understand that also plays a part in it, but I'm mainly focusing on the fact that the state they're from. So even though they might have a different lineage background, which might affect the culture, they understand just from the state they're from that there's a difference. I would say Florida, New York, New Jersey, Texas, California is a lost cause. Their relationship with the Latinx community is unnatural. Well, the coastal cities, you're talking about Portland, Washington, as in Seattle, even most of the coastal cities, like you just named, that's very liberal. And so they're like a melting pot because most of the people that come to this country go to those states and those cities. So they have this idea that, and New York, I know I'm jumping around right now, I'm sorry. New York, I've been saying for the longest, their problem is because there's so many quote unquote black immigrants there, the black people from, or the quote unquote black people from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, or those Trinidad, you have the quote unquote black people, but then there's Indians, there's white people there, Asians. The people from Trinidad look at we're all from Trinidad. So the black ones will say the N-word. They get around a black American, they say the N-word, the black people go, oh, you black like I'm black, okay, you can say the N-word. But then this Indian person from Trinidad or Asian person from Trinidad will say the N-word. The Trinidadian person will defend them because that's their culture. Now the black American now has to allow all Trinidadians to be a part of the black culture because you're allowing the quote-unquote black Trinidadians to be a part of it. I hope that's not confusing. I hope I made a good point. I hope I made my point there. But anyway, Jenny says, on the earth, nothing is important or is of interest unless people identify with the label black. Is doing it good, bad, and different. Mark said, we don't use their words. No, we don't. But as that dude said, heavy is the head that wear the crown. If you're the face and you're the middle and the center of black culture, you dictate things. So people not worried about you copying them. They want to copy you. He said, right, NYC sanctuary state or city. Yeah. So it's a melting pot. That's why that happens. This is why delineating is so important. Yeah. And you got to see it right here. I'm sorry. I should have let this play, but yeah. Dre says, exactly. I understand you can say the same thing without white South Africans. Exactly. Now, see, the difference with white South Africans, I guess you might say it's because of apartheid. It's a certain level of oppressor versus oppressed there. So there's a separation there for people outside of South Africa. So if a South African is telling you to allow some white South African to say nigga, you can be like, no, you're just not gonna let that happen. But we'll allow a person to tell us a white Trinidadian or whatever can say it because they're from the same culture. It's it is what it is. Honorable said this is New York, black immigrants moving to Atlanta, but be the end of the black Wakanda narrative till T.I. spoke of. Maybe shooting is still white. Honorable, I'm not buying into that melt pot narrative. We still mostly keep to ourselves. For the most part.
Not saying that disrespectful.
That means anybody.
If you're not saying you're a nigga, like you a nigga. Like if you're not saying it like that, then
yeah, but you're saying that means that you're saying anybody can say it then. No. Cause if I have my white friend CB, and I'm like, yo, CB, come here, CB, come here.
That's not how we talk. That's not how you talk.
You said specifically that you guys can talk it out loud. If it's not used in any certain way, then it's fine. Okay, for me, if I did that, like, there's consequences.
But you hear what he said. He said that's how. He said.
Honestly, did everyone state their ethnicity in this conversation? Well, I know everyone in this AMP group. I know he's Ethiopian. That's Agent Zero. Hassanah, I think, is Haitian and something else. I don't know what he is. I'm Davis. I think the other dudes are Caribbean as well. So only one that's black American is Duke Dennis. Duke Dennis is the only one who's black American. That I know of, at least.
That's how we talk. But hold on. But you said that's how we talk. That's not how we talk if he can't say it.
Now, this is like a politically correct answer.
All right, now here it is right here. It's an OG who's doing this as well.
But technically, the only people who have a pass to say the word nigga is foundational black Americans. We got to a point where anybody who's black, outsiders don't know who's foundational, who's from the islands, who's from Africa, so they group us, so we've all used it.
Jokingly, I would agree with you, But I just, at the same time, I know, like, society's gonna view him as a black man. Like, when he gets pulled over by the police, he's gonna...
I hate that right there. And I know y'all, I'm not gonna stay on this too long, y'all, don't worry. I don't understand why we keep using police violence against black people as a barometer of blackness. Please stop, bro. Stop, man. Please stop using the cops would shoot him too as an excuse to call someone black. Stop. That's crazy. Why would you allow a system that has oppressed your group to dictate who's a part of your group? That's crazy. See, this is how we got into that nonsense with the Civil Rights Bill where they included anybody who's a minority in with you. While now being a woman, being LGBTQ, being all this other stuff is blackness, basically. This is why when I heard that comment a few years ago of that guy in the UK who said that Indians are politically black. He said it in the UK. And now, in 2024, you have Indians in America saying they are black. These are Caucasian people. Some of them are Asian descent, but our Caucasian people are now calling themselves black. This is crazy. We're in the twilight zone now. But it also shows that there's this huge shift culturally where for decades now, for really a couple hundred years, at least 150 so years, whiteness was a standard of success in this world. And it still is the standard of success because, America's at the top and it's dominated by Caucasians. But the fact you have so many demographics willing to use blackness to take advantage of something even kind of shows there's a huge shift in how people view these races all of a sudden. Arnold says, no, hate the police. Why are black immigrants have so many encounters with police and not being deported? Let me say this, and I'm not saying this is true, but I remember a few years ago when Tariq Nasheed said something I completely disagree with, and I still do. He said, all the crime has been done by these black immigrants, and I disagree with that. That's not true. Come on. But I will say, it's a lot of times I see some wild crime, and black people commit some wild stuff too. I'm not excusing what we do. Black Americans, we do some wild stuff too. But a lot of times I see something crazy happen, and then I look at the name of who did it, and I go, that shouldn't be in the same category as black America. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, xenophobic or whatever, but that should be in a different category. Like when you have somebody from another country that come to America, commit a crime, and get deported, and that's reported as a black American crime, like, come on. That ain't fair. Anyway, Margot said, people know the difference between black America and everyone else. They definitely do. Puerto Ricans are saying the same thing as last year also. This has got to stop. Honorable said, they definitely do, Mark. I hate this, y'all, the same BS. Virginia said, at this point, and now that I'm more aware of black immigrants, it's hard for me to see myself in faces, a.k.a. FBA Negroes of America. No disrespect either. We're just not necessarily the same culturally. They're not like us. I agree, Duke, different category. We got to start calling them black immigrants. They are Caribbean and African immigrants. It's a habit. And I got to ask y'all a question because I asked Travis this question. I asked multiple people this question. They can never say it. You can't say they're a different race. I won't. No, they're your race. Even though they're not making African is not a race no more. That's still my brain still fried from that. But I'm not saying they're not a different race. We're the same race. It's just we gotta, yeah. Most crimes are being done by them. We still unfamiliar with a lot of blue collar finance crimes they doing. Nah, I'm not gonna say this most of them. I can't do that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me move forward. I'm trying to speed up through this now.
Don't be a nigga. He is just as black as us to America.
And I'm saying that's how the word spread the way it spread.
Yeah.
And now it's a universal language amongst us all.
First and foremost, the word nigga means a non-tax-paying citizen. At that,
they don't give the word nigga so many damn definitions. They don't said it mean ignorant, non-tax-paying citizen. They don't said it meant foreigner. They don't say all that it means. Look, man, the word nigga, and y'all might not care, the word nigga is in the Bible. The word is old as hell. It's not new. It's being used towards quote-unquote black people for millennia. It's not new. This is not a new word. White people did not invent nigga. White people are not the first one to call you nigga. We called ourselves this word. This word is not what they said it mean. It means I'm a victim of white supremacy. Virginia says, I attended a black marriage ball last night. There was a few pale faces present. Everybody now identifies as black. The world is confused. I remember when there was a what do you call it? There was a black chat room. I guess you would call it back. It was a black chat room. It was for black people to just talk about stuff. And there was a white dude in the chat room And when you complain about a white dude being in the black chat room, you have black people calling you racist and saying, leave them alone, they cool. It's like, all right, man. I don't say they don't want to be called Caribbean and claim only African American, refusing to call them the right thing. West Indians, what they claim to be. Also, they also are now trying to claim Black American. I saw a person from South America saying that everybody from North and Central and South American can claim Black American because it's in the Americas. Now, there's a channel named Be the Power who used to be associated with ADOS. He found a definition, or at least a document that showed that the United States of America and the term American is only associated with people in the United States of America. He had a term for it, it's a word for it, that nobody else calls themselves American. It's only people from the United States, Americans. A Canadian is Canadian. They're in North America, but they're Canadian. A Central American is not Central American, they're Mexican and Panamanian. And when you go down to South America, they're from Bolivia, they're Brazilian. But yeah. Marco says, I don't say white immigrants, I say European immigrants. Is the origin of the word from negus? I've heard that, but there's people that dispute that too. Some people say that nigga is literally just from, just a variation of the word from the Spanish or the Greek. It's a variation of a word that was Greek once, and it literally just means black-faced or black, whatever. Sorry, let me drink some water. My throat, my bad. Hold on. All right, I'm back now. Dre says, exactly, Barnaby's and Simeon's called nigger, right? Yeah. Yeah, they called him nigger in the Bible, so I'm like, come on, man. Was the Shade Room or Clubhouse? No, this was this is their from their channel, AMP. They did this on their own channel. I think YouTube flagged it because they said the N-word. So they said they're gonna just post it on Twitter. I don't know. Honorable said they can have black. I refuse to be lumped and make them address me as African American or Black Americans. Right, I heard that Don Reborn say he was Black American and dude is from Jamaica. Yeah, it's getting crazy, y'all. It's getting crazy. The more y'all try to push away, they're gonna try to grab on. That's why I said you got to make this a legal thing, political thing. I mean, sorry, a lineage thing, not a political or legal. You got to make it a lineage, ethnicity. It's a Dutch Netherlands word that means ignorant out of the Atlantic slave trade. Well, that's a new definition. That's the definition I was talking about earlier when I said ignorant. But then the word is older than that, so it is what it is. I'm sorry, let me finish playing this.
At that point in time, post-slavery, that word was used towards African Americans. We were described as Negroes when we came off the slave ships because during the transatlantic slave trade through the Caribbean islands, the majority spoke Spanish. And because of that, Negro means what in Spanish? Black. So they associated with black. The ignorant version of black means nigger, because we were actually non-tax-paying citizens because we weren't considered human beings. So third, when that foundational black shit, nigga, that's crazy. Because at the end of the day, we took that word and we made it, strangely enough, out of love.
But who did that? And I'm done playing this now because they're going to get into a back and forth. Who made it a term out of love? That's the point. Yes, people on the continent of Africa during the colonization stuff referred to as nigger. No, they weren't. I'm like, some of them were. I'm not going to go into it because it's some more spiritual other stuff, but some of them referred to as nigger, other ones weren't. Some of them referred to as Hamites. Even back then, they would use that word. That word don't get used anymore, obviously, because, times change and words fall out of favor, but yeah.
What y'all don't understand about Hispanic people and Spanish people, they just as black as us. Exactly. When you talk about foundational, Puerto Ricans, Brazilians have black ancestors.
And please, for the love of God, we got to do a check on that damn Brazilian stuff. They keep telling us that Brazil has the largest black population outside of Africa. We got to test that, because every time I see a video of somebody in Brazil and saying they black, come on, man, we got to do a test on this. Like, we now know, especially in the last couple of years, they said, at least, I'm going based off of what I've read, that there's been some sort of black revolution in the last decade or so where a lot more Brazilians are referring to themselves as black and this black power thing and all that other stuff. I didn't even know there was such thing as Brazilian funk. They got funk music in Brazil the same way they got house in South Africa, or, it's just crazy.
ancestry, you don't understand. I'm gonna teach you right quick, my nigga. The problem is that Brazilians have, y'all don't understand.
Hey, my brother, come take a seat real quick.
Take a seat.
Come on, bro.
Go ahead.
Take a seat.
Go ahead.
It was one group of people called niggas, and that's the American slaves. Niggas and the Indians too, Native
Was you a
Americans
slave?
as well.
Was you a slave?
My ancestors was.
How you know?
What you mean? How I know?
How you know? Do you know your
I do,
lineage?
absolutely.
We know you was a slave, my nigga.
Hold on, y'all. They need to give us Negro back to the Spanish and Portuguese as well. I'm tired of that too. He an NY goofy. The Puerto Ricans out of FBA lineage. Mark Gordon says, seeing a bunch of people imitating Black Americans and hide their own culture makes them cowards to me. A lot of them wanted to be close to white when they first migrated here. I saw a bunch of videos from the continent of a bunch of Africans celebrating Young Thug getting out of jail too. I thought that was crazy. Dre says, facts, they racist as hell in Brazil too. Honorable says they used that black narrative in Brazil to justify most of these people living in poverty, nothing else. Damn. Virginia says, if you read it to the Black's Law dictionary, black doesn't even mean people who have dark skin. Deceptions. I'm sorry. Umar Jermaine Johnson.
What I'm saying is this: that foundational Black American shit, that's some bullshit. At the end of the day, that's my personal belief.
That's what that means. That
my
means
nigga, you're gonna be viewed as a nigga. You Ethiopian, right? You Ethiopian, right?
Right.
1 o'clock in the morning.
All these niggas is my niggas, but I'm saying
okay then.
That's where the word.
So you with me, my nigga?
The word started. I'm saying who
the word started with who?
With a specific group of people that was already here.
Who was the people, my nigga?
The Native Americans.
My nigga, they didn't call niggas, my nigga.
And the niggas that came on the same shit.
Nigga.
Them two groups.
Why does dude remind me of Fat Joe? Like the way he's saying the word it's almost Fat Joe-ish to me.
No!
It's called niggas.
No!
Niggers.
I forgot to pause it right there. I'm sorry. That's what got them kicked off of YouTube. Hopefully YouTube don't do it to us. Anyway. I was playing NYC Immigrant, Hard R. Well, he was trying to say that we turned it from that to, well, that's not really all the way true, but we turned it from that Hard R to the A. We made it cool to say to each other, because there was a time where Black people in America didn't like to be called Black, and that may be a narrative written in a book. But a lot of Black people in the early 1900s, they weren't trying to hear you call them Black. That's a slur to them. Call me Negro. Some of them didn't mind color, but that wasn't the best received either. Call me African American, because that word is a lot older than people think too. People keep saying that what's called started in the 80s, but African American is pretty old too. Black Law Dictionary was written by a white man. Why y'all always feel comfortable referencing it? What NP had to say? Well, they was allowing some debate about it. They're young dudes. They really didn't have any strong opinions on it. Probably the strongest opinion I've heard has been from Duke Dennis when he came out and was like, African Americans, we made this shit lit, whatever. But most of them, they're just young dudes. They don't have any strong opinions on it at this point. I would say most books are written or about white or pale skins, but could also just be Black folks passing. Everything is in a book, and I've read books from the 1700s, 1800s, 1600s, because even if it's written by a white person, I want to know what their thought process on certain things were then, and I cross-examine it with what Black people are saying or have said throughout history. And a lot of times, to be honest with you, they're obviously skewed from their whole white supremacist point of view, but even in their racism, they admit certain things. Like some of the stuff is going to be garbage, you know it. When you go into the race science, some of that stuff is going to be garbage. But some of the stuff, the most racist stuff they say, they're going to expose themselves and say some truth. So you got to, as they say, take the meat, leave the bones. Dre said, they got kicked off YouTube. No, the channel didn't, but the video got striked. They couldn't upload the video, they said. But maybe they edited it out and they put it back up, though. There will be a day when our culture is no longer profitable and everyone you saw in that video would say they are not niggas. When they said it before, it is what it is. Virginia said they sure do admit stuff. It's one of the universal laws requiring them to do so in its duality. Yep, exactly. You have to get consent. You got to lie with consent. Our people treat the Black Law Dictionary like it's the Bible. No, it's just documented documented stuff that they've said, and you can just reference it when, you get into an idea of why people say and do the things they do now. Just the headline. I'm not going to go into this too far because I kind of stayed on the other topic a little too long. My apologies. New Haven rejected a plan, for a black college in 1831. Generations later, look, y'all, it's considering an apology. I just want to read the headline. A lot of apologies the last couple years they've been trying to give. Although their soft skills are just bad. White Americans, or white American in general, just don't got soft skills. They're so used to being bullies that when they try to have soft skills, it's either look like pandering, it looks like white guilt, or they just look like they're just, I'm sorry you feel that way, which means you're not really sorry. Mark Gordon says, I want nothing to do with them, just my opinion. Yeah, I understand. But yeah, they rejected a college back in the day. Could have been an HBCU there. Now they're apologizing centuries later to, make it better. West New Haven, I got one. We got one. I guess they banned one in 1831. In 1831, a coalition of black leaders and white abolitionists proposed the nation's first African-American college in New Haven, Connecticut, as an attempt to open doors to education that was largely shut in the time of slavery. So they might have one now, but they denied it back then is the point. Now they're apologizing for it. All right, now I got to show this. Since we're speaking about people trying to take claim to certain things. Let me play this right here.
It's incredible.
Luigi is back, y'all.
How we are kind of living sometimes in a parallel shadow world, which is crazy because we've always been the largest ethnic group in America. We're the oldest ethnic group after indigenous people, and yet we're invisible. The genesis of this show was my son was doing a history project in 8th grade, and I wanted to help him, be a good dad and get some brownie points for my wife. And I saw that there were no Latino contributions in his history textbook. So I became super sleuth dad and bought all the books on Amazon on Latino history, went on the sites. And what I learned was so mind-boggling that it changed my DNA and
Latinos.
my chromosomes immediately.
Latinos.
When I learned that Latinos fought in every war America has ever had, I'm talking about.
I've seen people who I respect give their opinion on this, and they say that's not true, that there were no Latinos in the Revolutionary War.
The American Revolution, Civil War, World War I, World War II.
And that there were not many in all those other wars.
10,000 unknown Latino patriots fought in the American Revolution out of 80,000 total troops. We were 1 in 8. We funded the American Revolution. Cuba, Mexico, and Spain gave $2 million to George Washington. We helped build the railroads all the way to the Pacific after our Asian brothers and sisters were kicked out. Then we built the whole infrastructure.
Now, it's funny how he mentioned the Asians and didn't mention the blacks. The level of, he has a thing against black people and their contribution to this country. The man mentioned Asians, and the picture is literally showing Negroes. Some of them are Negroes, and it's just like, yeah, then we did it after the Asians. Like, all right, bro.
Structure for the West and the Southwest. And then I learned the sad parts, where from 1830 to 1930, 6,000 Latinos were lynched, burned alive, and shot. Then we were massacred. We were redlined. We were segregated.
What? Y'all was fighting to be white that whole time. We got quotes from some of the Latino leaders in America, Hispanic leaders, saying, hey, that's a Negro problem, not a Spanish. That's not a Hispanic. Y'all weren't even referred to as Latino or Spanish until the Civil Rights Movement. Y'all jumped on the bandwagon. Y'all were trying to be white. How in the since 2016, these people have been flipping and flopping all over history, just trying to rewrite everything. And this all started when the Black Panther came out. I'm dead serious when I say that, y'all. Black Panther, I don't know what it is about that damn movie. Black Panther and Get Out, those two movies created a huge shift in a lot of these people in Hollywood and how they speak about history, especially when they talk about the contribution that their culture had or involved in it.
We were experimented on. Our women were sterilized, unbeknownst to them in California.
That's literally just a story of Black Americans he's talking about.
Early 1900s.
I'm not saying it's only happened to black people, by the way. I'm just saying you could tell he's telling this story that he's heard already that was about black people.
And yet, we were the first to fight against segregation in 1911.
Oh, I can't even go no further, y'all. I can't do it. He was talking crazy. I almost said this. I almost said this man make me so sick, y'all. Why they not pretending like they don't come from a different country? I don't think many of these people would agree with this type of erasure. Let me ask y'all a question. Because you made a good point, Honorable. Everybody is trying to create their stake, stake their part of America. Everybody's trying to make sure their culture is to say that they own a part of America in its gains that is in the gains that is added on over the years. It's like they can sense that either one, a new bottom caste is about to be created, because if Black Americans ever become politically savvy and just really move like everybody else, it's a wrap for a lot of these other people. You can have more people in this country, but you ain't got none of the pool that Black Americans got in this country. So it's like if they see that if they wake up, if they have some level of political push, it can flip who's at the bottom. So everybody's making sure their group, even the Asians, everybody's making sure their group is not at the bottom. Asians got hoodwinked with the affirmative action thing. Now they're not letting y'all in the colleges no at a lower level. So it's up to y'all how y'all want to go about this. Hold on. I'll go to they are in the history books. They were called white, and they still are. Some of them. Most of them that come over from those South America, Central America, hell, even some of the islands, they refer to themselves as white. Black laws were another. Okay, y'all going back and forth. He's claiming Mexican history and erasing them with this lumping together nonsense. This doc is the first time I had one Crow instead of Jim Crow. Oh, Juan Crow, yeah. He wants to be a victim so bad. He said his father pulled his card when he lied and said he was Puerto Rican when he was actually from Costa Rica. Yeah, that was crazy. Then he said, my whole DNA changed. No, the truth just came out. Anonymous says, when he tried to claim signs with no dogs, Negroes, and Mexicans, it's when I checked out. Mexican has never been a universal term for Spanish-speaking individual. Exactly. Like, all this stuff is new age compared to history. We talk about real history. Matter of fact, let me show this video here of him saying it, a Hispanic saying it.
First growing, well, very small generation of middle-class Mexican-American advocates fought back. And this was an example of what some scholars have called the other white race strategy, of which Mexican-Americans for a large chunk of the 20th century, the advocates sought to be claimed as white because all rights were conferred on you only if you were white. And so the longest time, Mexican-American advocates sought for this whiteness. And the example of going to your congressman and saying, "What? They took us out of the white category, put us back." That was a poignant moment. We know that this other white strategy had its problems. We know the famous case in the 1950s in which a Mexican-American had been convicted of murder, and his lawyer said, well, there was not one Mexican-American on the jury. This was not a jury of his peers. And the judge said, well, Mexicans are white, and the jury's all white, so what's your problem? Clearly an imperfect strategy. So by the 1950s, Mexican-American advocates began consciously and subconsciously sort of to adopt the increasingly successful strategies of African Americans.
What did he say right there? Hold on. Adopt what?
Successful strategies of African Americans.
Oh, let me hear that again.
And they had to toe this, began consciously and subconsciously sort of to adopt the increasingly successful strategies of African Americans.
So they was dealing with the white strategy. They saw the niggas when they said that when Black American who know their history say we made the world conscious. We made them conscious. They decided to adapt the successful strategy of the Black African Americans. So they jumped on the bandwagon.
And they then had to toe this very delicate line of trying to be designated sufficiently enough minorities to take advantage of Brown versus Board of Education.
So there wasn't the cause for Brown versus education, as Luigi said. They were just trying to take advantage of it.
And protections for minorities without losing their whiteness.
I don't got to play no more.
So they played this dance for a little bit. But then with the advent of clearly race-based answers to social problems, the Voting Rights Act, affirmative action,
what?
Mexican American.
Who's the reason why those laws got passed?
So the Voting Rights Act, affirmative action, Mexican Americans, by the late 60s and early 70s said, we're people of color too.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Overnight, Mexican American advocates had fought to be white. The last part of the 20th century, hey, we're people of color. What are you talking about? I say this jokingly, and I've gotten some horrible emails, but I don't say that to disparage Mexican Americans. I think it's quite brilliant myself.
It's brilliant. Do what's best for your people. I ain't knocking the hustle, but tell the truth.
Because it's a system that's stupid. And your ability, can you really blame a person for trying to manipulate a system that's really done you no good?
I got you, Mark. I'll make sure. I'll give it to you. I'll make sure. I got it off Twitter. I'll be honest with you. It was hold on. I'll send it to you. Don't worry. I'll send it to you. But yeah, enough said. What we doing, man? Like Mark said, please like the video, y'all. Please make sure y'all hit the like video. Honorable says very small. You say Asians too. Yes, East Indians. He said, adapt a successful strategy of African Americans. Did you hear that? Yeah, everyone is adopting a successful strategy of Black Americans. The need to remove the 12th Amendment of the birthright law. Yes, I'll be the bad guy to say it. Adam says, whites protected their image so that the white strategy was a failure. They have a lot of failure in this country. Only with us do they get wins. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I give you the link to the. At least I seen the link to the tweet at least that I got it from. I'll be honest. But yeah, let's move on, man. Yeah, enough said. He said it. And every other demographic did that. But speaking of bandwagoning, I said earlier that Obama lost his sauce. And I think there was Obama 2.0 with Berto O'Rourke. I'll take my L. I just knew that Berto O'Rourke was going to be successful because of how much he copied Obama. He wasn't that well known, but people liked the way he spoke somewhat. He wasn't Obama, obviously, but he was somewhat okay with a lot of people. But he decided that he was trying to run in Georgia in Texas, that was never going to work for him. But then we got Obama 3.0, which is Kamala Harris, who was to me a failure of trying to be Obama. She's just not good at it. But then there's Obama 4.0 that's on the way. And I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all. If Kamala Harris, I'm saying it right now, if Kamala Harris wins the presidency, this man will be your president in 2028. I'm about to show him. He will be the president in 2028 if Kamala Harris wins.
Well, we're moving on now to the east side, to a deluxe apartment.
This is Westmore. And remember, if I'm not mistaken, we found out that he is a quote-unquote Black immigrant, his family at least. He's of an immigrant background. He was the first Black governor of I forgot where he's from. Sorry. He's going to be president. And to me, this whole thing, him dressing up as Jefferson's Maryland. Yeah, so thank you. Him dressing up as Jefferson for Halloween is him trying to get cultural equity right now. He's building it up right now. The Democratic Party already see him as a superstar. We talked about him a year ago. If Kamala Harris wins, he will win in 2028. I'm already saying it right now. All right, Honorable. You say you don't see it. We'll see. I find it funny that Mexicans are at the bottom of the Latinx cast, but we needed them to craft his new narrative. Obama never had sauce. He had a Black wife, plain and simple. That's a big part of it. That's definitely a big part of it. I'm not gonna lie. Him having a Black wife definitely added 70% of his backing. Stop speaking that Indian lady into the White House. All right. His mother's Jamaican. He's from Maryland. Yeah. He said, I don't see it. All right. I'm telling you. Does his own culture have equity? It don't matter. He's building up one already. We all for all that Black is the same train. If Kamala wins, it's gonna go right back to it. It's gonna go right back to what it was 4 years ago. Or at least 8 years ago, I meant to say. He said, you're right, Maryland and Baltimore have a lot of immigrants from DC and Baltimore. Yeah. If you let Kamala, who's claiming Jamaican, get into the White House, it's gonna be okay, we letting them in the White House now. We letting Caribbeans in the White House now. This is what it is. All right, let me show this. I'm spending way too much time on this first tab, y'all. My bad.
It might seem so little to some people, but oh my gosh, when they start doing this makes me so happy. Y'all don't understand how happy this makes me. I don't only have to click Black or African. I can actually say Nigerian when they start doing this. Yeah. Y'all ate that little one. I'm happy. Yo.
Well, she's happy. She's Nigerian and happy about it, so it's not xenophobic no more to ask for it, is it? Honorable says, if she win, then I want to hear nothing but America is doomed. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to those numbers in a bit. Let me run through this right quick to get to that part. I'm not gonna go into that this right here. I was gonna talk about this little story here, but I've spent way too much time on this first tab and I gotta speed it up. But I was gonna go into historically how white men was prostituting their women off to have kids by black men during slavery so that they can continue to enslave the kids. I was gonna make this point because Honorable, when she makes the point that your lineage is based off of your mother, because in America, the law stated that the child was enslaved or owned by the slave owner because of the mother's, because it was of the mother. Before that law, it was based off of the father, and the white men were literally bringing women in from Ireland and in Britain to have kids with these African slaves so that they can have free slaves, pretty much. It got so bad that the country changed the law to be based off of the mother. The second time they did it, they banned interracial pairing between black men and white women marriages, which led to people purposely allowing these marriages to happen so that they can find them and make money. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna stay on it long. I'm not sure. I got this from this dude right here. Based off of what I know about him, he is a Pan-African, but he's a really good historical research guy. I recommend y'all. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen him already. Xbox DeMark. That's his name. Great House. Very good historical Twitter page. He be going through talking about a lot of stuff. If you're interested in some of the stuff, but you see right here, he went through the law in 1661. Maryland passed the first law that attempt to discourage marriage between African American and European women. The penalty for such marriages was the enslavement of the offspring for 30 years. The law had to be the opposite effect. Obviously, the man could brought the woman in to have kids so they could have free slaves. They changed the law because it wasn't working. So I can go to it deep right now. I was going to go further into it but I've been spending too much time on this. But that's the page if y'all want to see it. Very good historical facts. I'm still under black. I'm not so I'm happy to. I'm definitely so marked. It's a step in the right direction. I did not know that. How long did that last? It ain't last that long because they were taking advantage of it. This was the mid to late 1600s they were doing this. I'm going to join Twitter someday, one day. Parliament Secretary. I know what that is. I know what that is, Honorable. The doctrine that allowed them to base it off of the mother, but they did that because before it was based off of the man, and you had white men bringing in women to be concubines, not concubines, but pretty much have babies for these black slaves. Which is funny because before that, if I'm not mistaken, they said the male to female slave ratio was 3-to-1 for black men. So they weren't even bringing a lot of black women into the country prior when it was based off of the lineage of a black man, because they were just bringing these people in to work in the fields and all this other stuff, and all this other working with your hands. It wasn't until maybe the 17th, after they did pass that other law to allow it based off the mother, then they started bringing in more female slaves. But before that, they didn't want too many black people in the country. If you remember, what's his name? I sound crazy right now. Who's the person on the $1 bill? I know that sounds crazy. I'll be forgetting names. Weren't those state laws? Are that true for all states or some? From what I know is all states. Well, you gotta remember, it was more like a colony thing then, so it probably was more state to state, but everybody probably adopted it. Benjamin Franklin, that's it. Benjamin Franklin, I read this before on the channel before. When he wrote a letter to the king of Britain, he said, "Why would we pollute this in the faces of all the stars? Why would we pollute this country with these black faces?" Basically, and he compared Africa. Listen, what I'm saying. Benjamin Franklin compared Africa to Germany, Spain, and all these other places, which means he was calling Germany a black country. That is a fact. He was saying that we don't want all these black faces like in Germany and all these other places like Africa. He didn't want these places to turn into Africa. I just find that funny. Anyway. All right, quick little story. U.S. study on puberty blockers goes unpublished because of politics, doctor says. The leader of the long-running study said the drugs did not improve mental health in children with gender distress, and that the findings might be weaponized by opponents of the care. Don't need to go no further into it. That's crazy. You have proof that this doesn't work, but you won't do it because you think the right wing or the conservatives are going to use it to bash what you're trying to push. Just crazy. What is this?
One other person.
They were adopted by other colonies. Yeah, that's what happened. It was mainly colony to colony, but everybody ended up adopting it. But yes, a lot of history is not what we all think it is. When you start reading certain stuff, you start changing how you how the image that they painted ain't how it was. Let's move on. All right. I'm gonna run through this geopolitical talk. I'm gonna try to get through this in like 5 minutes, real quick. I want to get to this. I want to show this though. All right. U.S. says North Korean troops ready for Ukraine combat as missiles raises tensions. They shooting ballistic missiles and they testing ballistic missiles. I'm sorry, in North Korea. They also sent 10,000 troops. I think they said it was 8,000. Now it's 10,000 troops to Russia to help with Ukraine. And with that, U.S. weapons can be fired at North Korean soldiers in Ukraine. The Pentagon confirms troops from the communist state will be seen as co-belligerents in Russia's war. Ukraine will be allowed to fire U.S.-donated weapons at North Korean troops fighting alongside Russia, the Pentagon has confirmed. So they're not going to put any restraints on Ukraine to kill or shoot at Korean soldiers. That might seem like they're ready to just knock it off, kick it off, obviously. I want to show this real quick, too.
Why has the PR been so awful? I know that's not your
This is about Israel and why they got rid of TikTok.
area of expertise, but you have to have some thoughts on that, which is, I mean, as you've said, why has Hamas disappeared in terms of public perception? An offer is on the table to have a ceasefire, and yet the world is screaming about Israel. It's like, why aren't they screaming about Hamas? Accept the ceasefire, bring home the hostages. It said it's all the other way around. I mean, typically the Israelis are good at PR. What's happened here? How have they and we been so ineffective at communicating the realities there? And
we're on an intravenous feed of information with new impulses, inputs every millisecond. And of course, the way this is played out on social media has dominated the narrative.
They weren't able to sell the propaganda because of social media. I ain't gonna put up a video. The fact that he sent it out loud is, that's what they do though. They have to lie with your consent. All right. 2030, U.S. Army General says robots could replace 1/4 of combat soldiers by 2030. Now, this is an article from 2014. In 2014, they said that 1/4 of the combat soldiers will be robots by 2030. Then this article right here, this is 2023. The U.S. Marine Corps has been preparing for a first robot war. So they told you it's going to happen in 2014. Then they told you they're preparing for it in 2023. Don't got to read the article. Not going to go too deep into it. Then the British Army said this is 2020. A quarter of soldiers could be robots by 2030. Now, I see you brought up Will Smith, our robot. Y'all see Elon Musk when he did that rollout of his new the new stuff he got coming with the vehicles and the robots and all the other stuff, and everybody kept saying it looks like the movie I, Robot. Then I want to show this. This is a politician in Kazakhstan. He said there'll be a war in Kazakhstan by 2030. He said, in conditions of budget deficit, this is a budget meeting, taking into account geopolitical risk, when compared with what is happening in Ukraine, the allocated funds are very small. The Ministry of Defense, you are responsible for security. There will be a war in 2030. There is such a risk. There are such forecasts even in the Defense Department. Without taking into account world expert opinions, in such a situation, 44% of GDP, what does this mean? Where do these calculations come from? will we raise these issues? So he's saying, where the money at for the war in Kazakhstan? So he's saying it's going to happen. Then early this year, Putin ally vows to destroy NATO by 2030. And I know y'all already know about the 2030 agenda. And then this right here came a couple days ago. AI will acquire a human form from the Nvidia executive tells Nike. I know I'm not saying it right. Forum. The only thing that changed my mind is thinking was creating old news clippings of young white men claiming white women would marry them while sleeping with their slaves as a way to keep other men from coming around. Wait, what? Only thing that changed my mind was reading old news clippings of young white men. Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying. So they can lie and say, I'm taken, but really they're just laying up with some. Yeah, that was a thing, too. Artificial intelligence will acquire a human form, a senior official at the U.S. chipmaker told an event in Tokyo on Monday. While the CEO of Hyundai Motor said the South Korean automaker would create a hydrogen ecosystem. The executive was speaking on the opening day of the Global Management Dialogue, a forum organized by Nike and Swiss Business School IMD. I'm just saying. Let me move forward. Volkswagen closing stores because the Ukraine war is costing them a lot of money. Oh, last one I want to show. Two more. And you can move forward to the next topic. Emerging defense bill mandates Pentagon study on war with China in 2030. Now, this was last year, 2023. Then the final one I want to show. Russia could attack NATO by the end of the decade, German intelligence chief warns. So for the past decade, they've been telling us that in 2030, we're going to war. They told us about the 2030 agenda. You see how things kicking up with Iran and Israel and Lebanon and China, Russia, Ukraine. France is trying to back up out of it, it seems. Saudi Arabia said they ain't got nothing to do with us. It's coming. Final hours. I said, I'll believe this. I'll believe in this AI robot stuff when they teach them how to braid faster and cheaper than that. Oh, Lord. All right. LOL, never doubt Skynet. I was crazy. All right, let's get to this Trump stuff. He had his rally in Madison Square Garden. They called him everything, called him a Nazi and everything. Everybody with merit better defend this country. I don't know what's that. Comedian criticizes Tony jokes at Trump rally. Virginia says America is involved in too many wars and no plans of changing course now. Kamala is selected regardless of votes. Well, the only country, like I said, the only country that America is trying to do more soft skills with is Africa. And that's because, and they won't admit it, it's because of the influence of Black Americans. If America loudly, because we know they're bombing countries in America. We know they're doing coups, they're paying rebel groups off to throw coups, to do coups on their country and stuff, but they can't be loud about it anymore because if they did, Black Americans would raise hell and it would be a terrible PR for America if Black Americans are raising hell for Africa. And also America's trying to create this bond, for years, America tried to create this separation between Africans and Black Americans. Now they're trying to make it a one thing because through music, they're trying to influence it through music. That's why you see the Tylers and all those people are being promoted more in America, and they've got them intermingling with our artists and all the other stuff, and they're trying to devalue our music sound, bring them lower on the charts and all the other stuff. They're trying to mesh these people together so that they can get a foot in Africa, which we know China is all over. Our next president, Trump is going to win both popular and electoral, and she is still going to be placed in. I think that happened last time. Y'all see how we were able to say there was a time in this country we can threaten to beat the president up. We could talk about how we want to do all this stuff to a politician, and it was taken as free speech. long as we don't act on it, it's free speech. We were allowed to say that George Bush cheated Al Gore. His brother was the governor or something in Florida, and then they had those votes from allegedly dead people, dead Marines, all the other stuff. We were allowed to say an election was stolen, and it'd be free speech. If you say 2020, especially then, now I don't know if they're doing anything about it. If you say 2020 was and I didn't want to say it, they will flag your video, kick you off social media, all type of stuff. There was a time I could say this election is bullshit. I could say that. Now it's a crime almost. He said boots are floating in the swamps. The African NFL hurt me this week. White men know they're being placed while African-American men are too busy working on the little Hold Black Women Accountable project. Shake my head. First NBA, now Africa NFL. Well, Honorable, I can also say compete. If you're the best, be the best. You going to another country to play basketball and stuff. The only reason why NBA, and you see what's happening, Honorable. What's going on with the NBA's viewership? Viewership is down because don't no American want to watch Luka Doncic. No American want to watch Giannis Antetokounmpo and be the star. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good, not saying they're not entertaining, but Americans want to root for an American. Now, I think their thought was that Americans, white Americans, would root for a European, but they're finding out, not really. Not really. There's a reason why they put Kyrie Irving on the same team with Luka Doncic. Because Kyrie Irving is an American star who's entertaining. You put him next to Luka Doncic to get more eyes on Luka Doncic. And I'm not saying Kyrie is better than Luka. I'm saying people would rather watch Kyrie play the game of basketball than Luka Doncic. Their viewership is suffering because they're bringing in so many European players to be stars. Nobody's going to treat Nikola Jokic as a star. Like these Europeans, the NBA, and I sound like an old head now. 10 years ago, I was one of the young dudes that was saying, oh, these old heads just complaining about the game. They were saying it's soft and you're letting these European players get in the game because you're playing softer. When I look at the court now, they're skinnier, seemingly skinnier. There's no big man in the NBA. All these, when I look at, what's his name, Jokic, he dominates because a lot of the times he's bigger than the person he's going against. Like Joel Embiid is just bigger than all y'all. He's just bigger. But, you know, the NBA is suffering because they're trying to get rid of the American star. Their saving grace right now, and I'm going to move on for this. I know I started another topic. Their saving grace right now is Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, and we'll see what LaMelo Ball and those type of players do. But Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards, they better pray that those two players become the next stars. Otherwise, NBA could be in a bad spot in about 5 years. I don't like either. I think Harris wins electoral and Trump wins popular, and we will never hear the end of it. Oh yeah, the same thing happened with Hillary. Yeah, you're right. Cameron said the same thing 6 months. Yeah, I saw Gilbert Arenas talked about it. I heard Kobe Bryant before he died said, well, he didn't talk about the ratings falling, but he was saying these European players are going to come over and they're going to win because we used to send our college athletes to play their pros in the Olympics. Think about it for a second. We sent college athletes to go against their pros. And then finally, with Jordan and all them, Dream Team, we sent our pros and we dominated. We've been dominating ever since. They're saying that they're catching up now, but that's not really the case. We're sending our old stars because we're not introducing any new young American stars that much. Because they're trying so hard to push the Europeans. And also, and my last thing on this and I'll move on. We have our kids in school for 8 hours. Our basketball players. They have their kids in academies. They have their kids in an academy to play basketball full time. So we got our high schoolers and college kids who've been in school half the time and practicing half the time versus kids who've been playing nothing but basketball since they were 14 at a pro level. It's purposely devaluing your talent. We know what the game is. It's rigged. We know. And I'm gonna say they're also helping the WNBA. The Whites have someone to root for with that funny looking girl. Oh yeah, they love that Caitlin Clark girl. You have a good memory. We used to send our college athletes to play in the Olympics. Yeah, like the game is rigged now, man. Anyway, sorry y'all, I went off on a little whatchamacallit right there. I'll get back to it now. All right, I'm gonna play the joke that comedian said that pissed everybody off. And I just thought to myself, he said something way worse about black people. They study focusing on what he said to Puerto Rico, but he said something way more racist to the blacks. But let me play it.
A floating, so many grades of garbage in the middle, and there's no convincing her of anything. She's eating the cats.
Virginia said, Bishop Larry makes me sick regarding Caitlyn. This devil is a liar. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta agree with you and Honorable. I'm shocked at how many black men are like starting whole YouTube pages and talking about Caitlyn Clark. I'm like, when do y'all become so interested in like what's going on? Women's basketball got y'all. She that good? I've seen her play. It ain't that. It's just crazy how the media can tell you someone is popular and everybody will make them popular. It's crazy. Anyway.
She's eating the dogs. They're eating the pets up there. It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup.
So that's the joke that got Fat Joe and J-Lo and Bad Bunny and all these other celebrities to get behind Kamala Harris. I'm like, wait. So y'all been telling us that Trump is the worst. He's racist. He's sexist. He's a misogynist. He's a rapist. It took him saying this joke for all y'all to get behind Kamala. I don't understand. All right.
There's some people here. All right. Very good.
Let me play the next part.
Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio. Okay. Okay, that's what you guys want. All right. Heck yeah. It's cool. Black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that? A lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are... This is a...
Now, that second joke was way more racial and racist than what he said about the Puerto Ricans. And nobody's talking about that. We saw all the TV networks, the websites, the right articles. They keep mentioning the Puerto Rican shit. I'm like, what about the black joke? They don't even care about the black joke. They're like, whatever. Niggas is we already got them, or they ain't voting for us. We don't care. We trying to swing this Spanish vote now. That was way more blatant than the Puerto Rican joke. But I agree with what he said. And none of them gonna move back to Puerto Rico. Exactly. You're not even gonna move back. I love Puerto Rico, that island that I love that you visit every blue moon, I guess. But then it said the celebs are getting paid to promote the fake outrage. Yeah, this clearly was meant to, because it looked bad for them, but they messed this up. So they had a little bit of momentum after this, and they messed this up. We'll get to that later. Hold on. This is the first time hearing the black joke. Yeah, you were offended by craving one. I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm saying that was more of a racist joke than Puerto Rican. Saying that Puerto Rico is a garbage island in the middle of the ocean. He's saying it's a poor country. Saying that I carved watermelons with a black guy is a race joke. It's not about a country. He didn't say nothing about Africa. He said something about a black person carving watermelons. I don't care about the joke. I know of this dude. I know some of these comedians on that edgelord, racist comedians that exist that these white boys get behind. I think he's on this Kill Tony. I think that's what it is. The comedy show that he does. I'm not interested in this type of comedy. He spoke truth about the trash. It said Puerto Ricans also point out the garbage problem, so politics and lies. Hell, New York, they just got garbage cans. Anyway, there's nothing into that. MSNBC combines footage of Nazi rally and Trump's Madison Square Garden event. For the last week, or 2 weeks at least, Kamala's team in the media has been pushing this. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Donald Trump is Mussolini. He is Stalin. He is a Hitler. And do I think Trump is racist as much as any other 80-year-old white man? Yeah. But calling him a Nazi this is where I laugh at people that say that Trump started the mudslinging and all the other stuff. No, it was the Democrats that started it back in 2015. They started the mudslinging, and he just mudslinged better sometimes. They went on to put literal Nazi footage and played it over his rally, that's just crazy. And what does it say as a country if you're comparing a presidential candidate to Hitler and Nazis? What are you saying to your country? What happens if he wins? What are y'all saying? By the way, the man allegedly, and it's a fact, the man was shot at. He was shot at and was hit. And you're telling the same population he's a Nazi. What are you expecting to happen with some of these loonies out here? I don't get it. Let me show you what Fat Joe had to say about the garbage comment.
It breaks my heart.
Hold on. He said, didn't Puerto Rico try to kidnap the White House in 1954? Or was that a group that called somebody, please tell me? I don't know about that one. You might be right, but I'm not familiar with that history. Anonymous says, why did he target the least significant Latinx group? Virginia said, Obama was called Hitler at one point, just like Trump. Neither, as far as I know, have ordered the death of millions, allegedly. Well, we know the right wing, when they call Obama Hitler, they were trying to call him a communist. Even though, if I'm not mistaken, Hitler was a nationalist socialist. He was a nationalist, part of a nationalist party. I don't know if he would be considered a communist. I don't know. But with Obama, they was pushing the communist Muslim thing. They played the song Dixieland at the event. Democrats losing it. Let me play what Fat Joe said.
When I see people talk about, and I tell you, if any one of you guys got Puerto Rican friends, when you go over there and you go visit, the first thing they tell you is, my island, my island. Yo, you went to my island? You enjoy they tell me that. I'm not from Puerto Rico. They be like, my island, you was there. I see the picture, my island.
I thought Fat Joe said that he was from New York. He was black. He was blacker than a lot of the black people in America. Remember he said that? You know, now he's Puerto Rican again.
How the hell are they gonna call Puerto Rico an island of garbage?
Yes.
And when I post on my Instagram, these the guys you voting for, and I see Puerto Ricans saying, no, we're still for Trump. 2024. That's the house mentality.
Yeah.
He just referred to Puerto Rican as house niggas. Now, Fat Joe has been getting a lot of, in the last couple of years, maybe just online, he's been getting a lot of backlash for his continued use of the N-word, of nigga. And he says, I'm still going to say it. This is where I'm from. I'm black. And I'm looking at it like, bruh, this is what happens when you have an actual black Puerto Rican, quote unquote black Puerto Rican, and then you got Fat Joe. And now because they both Puerto Rican, they both have they come from the same culture. Now they're both the same now. And it's like, come on, bro. I know because I thought he was Cuban. Now he Puerto Rican. He said, yes, he did. I want to know if Fat Joe birth certificate says Caucasian. 100% it does. 100% it does.
Yeah.
I hate with other things from our history to tell their story. Oh, yeah. They use, because you're the litmus test for oppression and struggle. As I said, to a lot of people, black people, in a lot of people's eyes, black people are forever victims in society, which is a bad thing, because people always look at you with a, oh, poor them, they never see you as somebody who can stand on their own. But then they also use your history to propel their agendas. This is the article that started it all with The Atlantic saying Trump is speaking like Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini. It's crazy.
This Puerto Rican has something to say about the island that I love, where my family is from. Puerto Rico is trash. We are Americans, Donald Trump.
Well, technically you are, but really you're a colony. You don't really have any representation. Y'all have like a shadow governor, whatever they call it. You're not really American. You're a colony, just like Hawaii. Hawaii has representation, and they're calling themselves an occupied country. Like we really were forced to be American. We're not really American. We literally were colonized and forced to be called American. But yeah, American. And now at least she's not calling black men crazy anymore. She's focusing on her own country now.
We voluntarily serve disproportionately high in the military, while you have bone spurs. And we vote.
Well, part of the thing that happened with the lower class people is you join the military to be considered American, or at least some level of freedom is gained. Unfortunately, our people, we've done that historically too, at some of the highest levels, obviously. It is what it is. Shut up, Sonny. Keep. I'm saying the majority of Latinx is and identify with white in America. Our only ethnicity that doesn't is Panamanians. Oh yeah, I didn't realize how black Panamanians were. There's so many people I saw and thought they was just some other black, and they're like, no, they from Panama. Now they ain't just black; they like really darker skin. Most of I've seen, at least, normally darker skin. Virginia says, unfortunately, and again, people who prefer to identify as a melting pot black really know our history. Others, DC to exploit U.S. accordingly. We got the power they use. Yeah. I thought she was a black woman from Jim Crow. Hate her. Oh, that's the thing. They can jump in and out of identities to virtue signal. I didn't play this.
Nonsense, particularly on the other side of the aisle. Their conspiracy theory, they won't even say her name right. That has to be checked in the moment, because that is what fascism looks like. That is how we start sliding down a very slippery slope.
They calling Trump a fascist, even though when you start talking about controlling speech and controlling information, that is fascism, and that's what the other side is promoting. So not saying someone's name right is fascism, or the start of it. Then I want to play this last clip, not last clip, but this clip of Dr. Umar.
So, as a Pan-Africanist, someone who knows that it's all about pageantry, what we have representing our country as the United States of America,
exactly,
can be one or two things right now. A billionaire, older white man who has been known to not care about the black community.
Correct.
Or a black woman, a woman of color. Even if you don't take the word black away, we'll go woman of color.
We got to stay with black,
okay,
and we're going to talk about why.
Okay, but I'm saying
it can't be woman of color.
For the rest of the representation, for the rest of the world to look at the United States of America and the pageantry that we represent, what would be a better choice of identity in pageantry than a white man that's all about money and told us that he cares nothing about us but cares about him? That's the pageantry.
Okay.
Or a woman that at least, and just start a woman that at least shows that she has some sense of compassion, empathy for the people of the United States of America.
Stay right there. You said a woman who shows that she has some compassion for the people of the United States of America.
Right.
But this is the same woman who said America is not a racist country. This is the same woman who said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to only benefit black people, while she sat in office and watched President Joe Biden pass an anti-Asian hate bill, anti-Asian hate executive order, Native American executive order, LGBTQ executive order, and law. So how can Kamala Harris, the so-called black woman, say that I can't do anything just for black people, but you sat in the White House for 4 years with President Biden and watch him take care of specific groups of non-white people, and you didn't demand one thing for your own black people that you claim to be a part of?
Now, again, because those are a lot of semantics in the sense, because we've heard this argument before. She can say a lot of that stuff is taken out of context. A lot of the process of when she's saying she wants to do things for all people and not just black people specifically. We also know that bill, the Asian hate bill, is actually a bill that is for all.
No, it's not. Did you read it?
I mean, it's a long bill.
Read it.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. They only discuss Asian and Pacific Islander hate in the COVID-19 hate crimes bill. It is not for everybody. It is for Asians and Pacific Islanders.
Okay.
Now stay with me.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with them protecting
as they should,
Asians and
especially
Pacific
because
Islanders.
It was very specific in that moment.
Yes,
because a lot of that was
my problem.
Right.
My problem is how do the Asians get an anti-hate bill after one massacre And don't get me wrong, that's enough to get a bill. But black people been catching hell for 4 centuries, and we ain't got one yet. And what's been done to us is way worse than what has ever been done to any other group.
There's bills that have protected over the history.
Name me one bill in American history that was written just for black folks since the end of slavery. Give me one. Because the Civil Rights Bill was for everybody. The James Byrd anti-lift, that's for everybody.
The Civil Rights Bill was definitely ushered in by us.
So let me ask you a question. It might have been ushered in by you. All the bills were ushered in by us.
Right.
But who benefited the most? Affirmative action and the Civil Rights Bill benefited homosexuals and white women far more than it benefited black people. In fact, the Dixiecrats and the Republicans refused to sign it.
Affirmative action?
Yes!
And this, Nick Cannon know he's throwing live questions at the Umar. He agree with him on all this stuff, but when you're doing an interview, you have to act like you're from the opposing side. I get it. Kamala pronunciation it refers to Indian, and Kamala refers to black. She said, so she said she's Indian. She ain't really black, just cosplaying for votes. Do they ever discuss black economics? Most of the time when these shows talk black economics, they normally say the whole invest in ourselves. We can do it on our own. We make trillions of so we have a spending power of $1 trillion. We can, the typical stuff. Semantics my ass. And 45 billion. Protect agents from whom? They use the image of black men to get past. Don't forget. Yeah, that's a fact. They definitely was paying black men as the boogeyman for a good couple months to get a bill passed. Quick too. 3 months, maybe 2-3 months. That was a year. It might have been a year. Let's move on. All right. Let me just. Why Harris and Beyonce was a bigger deal than Trump and Joe Rogan. I saw a few people react to the Beyonce endorsement on stage. I saw that after she got off stage, many people went on about their night and started leaving. I saw a dude make a video saying that during the entire show, she was probably where the boos started. They weren't necessarily booing her, but they were booing, someone was booing people that were booing her, so it led to just a whole bunch of boos. A lot of people were angry that Beyonce didn't perform. And I looked at what happened. They said, 30,000 people showed up or whatever. But then I look at Trump, Joe Rogan. I think their interview is now at 43 million, something like that. And then the vice president, his vice presidential pick, Vance, he just did like 16, 17 million. I don't know if any of this means anything right now. I think most people who are going to vote for whoever already made their decision. I don't think the last couple of days, last week, you're going to sway too many people to vote for the other person, unless something crazy happened, like some real scandal just come out. But I saw this and I just thought, I've seen so many excuses as to why Harris isn't going to do the Joe Rogan podcast. And I don't care either way. I saw Joe Rogan came out with a statement and said that Harris didn't decline to come on the show. It's just that she wanted Joe Rogan to come to her because she's too busy and to only do a 1-hour show. He says, no, come to Austin. You were literally here during the Beyonce concert. Come here, sit down for 3 hours and have a conversation. And Rogan has stood on this for a while. I remember in 2020 when Trump was supposed to do his show, but Trump wanted him to come to him and he said no, and they didn't do the interview. So it is what it is. Regina says YouTube is trying to hide that Joe Rogan Trump interview. You got to search for the whole interview. Yeah, the first 10 hours it was on Unlisted, which I got to be honest, that's kind of unprofessional or neglect on Joe Rogan and his team's fault. How do you upload a video and accidentally leave it on Unlisted? That's crazy. So nobody can search it on YouTube because it's unlisted. It's your fault. So everybody had to go through a link. Then they got it from Unlisted, and they said YouTube and Google, when you look it up, it was only show you clips. It wouldn't show you the whole interview, but he said he got it fixed. So Honorable says Beyonce should be ashamed of herself. she too focused on not being outshined by Taylor and Rihanna. She ruining her brand. Her speech it didn't make sense. The entire rally seemed to have been a pro-abortion rally. They were in Texas that has the laws where you can only get an abortion if it's because of assault or, incest or something like that. Yeah, I'm about to say that. How do you get on stage as an abortion rally and say, I'm here as a mama? I'm here as a mother. It's like, wait. You're here as a mother, but you're advocating for abortion on stage. It's just what's the point of, I don't get it. Craig said, what's up, family? Just dropping to say hello. Catch y'all. What up, Craig? See you next week, man. Thanks for stopping by. Unlisted sounds like Spotify terms to me, maybe. And you might be right. It might have been some deal where for the first 10 hours, day or whatever, it needs to be unlisted or something. I don't know. You can only, I don't know. He's I'm a mama too. He says them Diddy tapes. I've seen that theory. Every last person that's hold on. I get it. Every last person that's endorsing Kamala has some picture or connection to Diddy, but let's be honest, he's Diddy. He was hosting the party. He's a big wig in the industry. Of course, everybody's going to have some form of a picture or affiliation with Diddy at some point. But yeah, people definitely running with that. Every time somebody endorses them, they put up a picture of them next to Diddy. So, yeah. Virginia says, yet Kamala isn't a biological mama, runs a platform for abortion, place some mothers in jail for truancy, nothing motherly. It's crazy. Anna says, I don't even bother watching her speech, honestly. Our poor sister Kelly, praying for it. Yeah, they had her in a zoot suit. Like, come on, Kelly. They got Kelly in a 1920s zoot suit. They got her up there. Come on, man. Come on. They started comparing her to all type of characters and stuff. People said they all look uncomfortable giving their speeches. Well, allegedly, and this is not being any proven, this is just a rumor. They said that, what's the girl's name? The big girl who losing weight? What's her name? The big girl who played the flute. I forgot her name. I apologize. I don't want to describe her that way, but she endorsed Kamala, and apparently Lizzo, that's it. They said Lizzo got paid like $2.3 million to endorse it. I don't know if that's true. That was just a rumor. Then they said Beyonce got $10 million. I said, damn, 4-minute speech for $10 million? It's a good racket. Does anybody know why Kamala Harris never had children? Career woman. A lot of women with that type of ambition, because Kamala Harris probably knew she wanted to be a president or be the president of the United States probably since she was like 21, 22. Maybe even before that. There's obviously with the Candace Owens conspiracy, they believe that she was bred from a young girl, child, to be in politics and to have some level of influence at least in American politics. But yeah. J-Lo just overacted. She looked ridiculous. Keeper. Yeah. Anonymous says, I don't get Diddy takes narrative for her. She saw her stiff as a board in the elevator. She low-key be spaced out around Jay-Z. Yeah, that handler stuff is real with her. Every time she goes public, she just dazes out from time to time. It's kind of strange. Very Kanye West is, except when he dazes out, he comes out of it and becomes manic. Is her name Ozempic? I believe it. Marxism definitely groomed their children like a maturing candidate. Yeah, that's what I believe. It's probably something like that. Go back and look at Usher's speech. He looks like he's under duress. He also performed with who was that he performed with? What's his name? He performed with an OG. I said, then they bringing out all the celebrities on that side. That's why that Tony dude made that joke. He was like, the Democratic Party, all the endorsements are starting to look like a Diddy party. Annabelle says, definitely looks like she be high on edibles. That, or she be under hypnosis or some other MK Ultra stuff. She's a victim of something. But then old girl says she a witch that be going inside a cat. So, the industry, stranger than fiction. All right, next up, wine. Oh, drunk. So after Trump made the Puerto Rico joke, well, not Trump, I'm sorry, because they keep placing it on Trump. After Trump rallied, the Tony dude made the Puerto Rico joke and they placed it on Trump. Joe Biden messed up bad. Virginia says there's a lot of hermaphrodites posing as one of them other strange things. Biden came out and had a gaffe, as they call it. calling all the Trump supporters garbage, copying his Hillary Clinton, calling them what did Hillary call them? Damn, I forgot the word she used. Let me just play this real quick.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware.
Deplorables, that's it.
Good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Why did he say his supporters are garbage? Deplorables, as Hillary called them. So then, as Trump does, he ran with it, him and his team, and he dressed up as a garbage man.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
I'm said there's no exemption for her. We will see a drastic difference in her face.
How do you like my garbage truck? This
is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
President Trump, you said the other day that the military could be used, like the military or...
Now, ever since I heard him in an interview with Joe Rogan, he said that his son has had some level of influence on his campaign. He even said that his younger voter base has grew 30%, according to him, because of his son. So I just know his son and the rest of his younger staff definitely gave him this idea. And it was quick, too. Immediately when he got a garbage truck, put Trump on the side of it. Now, I will say, putting Trump on the side of a garbage truck, if you lose, can be a really funny meme on the other side. It's going to be really funny on the other side. You've been dressed up as a person who works at McDonald's and now a garbage man. Like it can backfire real bad, but we'll see how it goes. Then it says Kamala comes across as a drunk, or everybody in the club getting tipsy just by the way she talks when she's answering a few questions, ignoring most questions. When I saw that clip of her during that town hall, and the guy asked her about her economic plan, and she was like, "It's a lot going on. I have to send you the paperwork." Like, wait, you can't on your feet? Like, think of something good to say? As a president of the United States, you're not good on your feet? You're not quick on your feet? Nah, can't do it. Honorable says, I'm garbage now. Can't feel too bad. I gave my vote to Kanye. Yes, we didn't contemplate in the club. People says, great marketing. Oh, very good marketing. I know that I know for a fact that McDonald's campaign thing he did definitely worked, because the Democrats started lying. I won't say the Democrats, but certain people who are anti-Trump started lying about Kamala working at McDonald's. They took a whole picture, they made a fake picture, put a face on some white woman, and lied and said she worked for him. So that clearly they feel like that worked, and that was a positive thing for Trump. But yeah, I think she drinks a little wine every to calm her nerves. She reminds me a lot of Nancy. Nancy be drunk. Honorable says, in the club, we all fam. He says he acts like she's high. All right. Virginia says, honestly, regardless of gender, race, I don't care why anyone would want that position. Her drinking to calm her nerves. Obama smoke and all makes sense. Yo, Obama definitely smoked weed. Lips black as hell. Obama was puff pass, definitely. And cocaine too, according to the Sinclair white dude, his alleged gay lover. Cocaine too. All right, the White House altered the record of Biden's garbage remarks despite stenographers' concern. In the club, so they changed the remarks. They got people defending it, trying to lie and say what he really meant. I'm gonna show those videos next. Y'all don't. She looked like she's aged. Yeah, especially when they put her next to her sister. It was very noticeable. Yep, and his book said he did cocaine. Yeah. I'm saying to the top cop of America and guy like this guy like Regina. Let me show y'all how they're trying to defend this. Now, these people right here, the Harris campaign is trying to completely separate from Joe at this point. Like they've been doing it for the last month or so, completely separating from him. They like he's holding us down at this point. Let me play a little bit. I'm not gonna play this whole thing.
6 days to go, and this morning we're hitting a major milestone. More than 50 million votes have been cast. And with time running short, what Donald Trump and Kamala Harris say right now could be the last impression that many voters take with them into the voting booth.
America was born. We are not.
Even as she hammered Trump, Harris made explicit appeals to patriotism and bipartisanship.
America, for too long, we have been consumed with too much division, chaos.
So she's trying to preach the whole unity thing. We know.
It can be easy then to forget a simple truth. It doesn't have to be this way. And the conflict, the fear, and division.
Harris's message of unity, however, was somewhat complicated by this comment from President Biden during a virtual appearance at a Get Out.
We already saw this.
His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything we've been.
The president later trying to clarify the remark. He tweeted that he was referring to, quote, the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by a Trump supporter at Sunday's rally. The White House even released a transcript claiming that what Biden was calling garbage was the supporters, that is singular with an apostrophe S, one supporters, quote, demonization of Latinos. The Trump campaign quickly seized on the comment. They sent this fundraising email saying, quote, First Lady,
deplorable, fascist.
Then they called you a fascist. And moments ago, Kamala's boss, Biden, called you garbage. At a rally in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
It's almost done, y'all. I'm going to play this little first part.
Once again, attacking his former opponent's mental fitness.
Remember Hillary? She said deplorable. And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable. That didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right?
And a former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, and Kristen Soltis Anderson, CNN political commentator, Republican pollster, and strategist. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Alex, I got to start with you because we were just
loud as it gets
yesterday talking about the tensions between the Harris and the Biden camps in terms of what exactly they're looking for from the sitting president in these closing days here. And the reality is, of course, Biden's team trying very hard to clean this up. I think they recognize the damage that has been done. What's been the reaction from Harris's team?
Yeah, well, no one here at this table knows what Joe Biden meant unless someone here has talked to Joe Biden.
Yeah, don't believe your lying ears. You heard it, but you don't know what he meant. Your lying ears.
When he made those comments. And the sad reality is that they were indecipherable because this president is no longer able to coherently and consistently articulate a message.
That's all I wanted to play. So they gaslit y'all and gaslit the entire country for 2-3 years, saying that he has a stutter, saying that he's just older now, he's slurring his speech, he slurs somewhat. Now they're admitting he's incoherent. He's unable to put together a freaking sentence. Like, wow. Okay. Oh, man. Harris is treating Biden like a grandpa with The Simpsons. If she stopped talking about Trump so much, she would probably be doing better. Most of the presidential candidates are related and believe they are related to Jesus Christ. That God complex is real. There's so many. Hold on. I'm gonna say this. It's so many things at play with her wanting to be president. More Jamaicans, more Indians, no more America. Biden is a saboteur. Definitely, Virginia, turn it up a little bit. Sienna Candace Owens thinks that Harris and Biden have the same ancestors. Oh, now he's incoherent. Exactly. So what you think about the media giving Kamala a lead knowing Republicans vote the day of the election historically? They pulled the same thing in 2020. The Democrats early were up, and everybody knew that election day is when most of the time when Republicans vote. They don't mail in vote as often. So it's the same game, same play. Regardless of how you feel about last election, whether you think it was completely on the up and up, they pulled in the same thing they did last time. They want civil unrest. Exactly. That's why I read the directive 2 weeks ago of them saying that now the military has the right to step in to help local law enforcement, even to a lethal effect. So they telling you right now they expect something to happen November 6th or during the inauguration, one of the two. They expect something to pop off. They did a emergency whatchamacallit. They had 12 helicopters outside of the whatchamacallit. They had 12 helicopters doing a whole run through on how to deal with, I guess, a crowd. So Yeah. So who has actually been running the country over the last 3-4 years? Obama. Obama had his 3rd term, and if Kamala wins, he'll have his 4th term. And by the way, I saw them making an argument against Trump. They keep implying that Trump is going to do something to allow somebody to run for president more than twice, and they're calling that fascism and saying he wants to be a dictator. Do people not realize, I'm pretty sure it was Theodore Roosevelt won the presidency 4 times. Legally, he won the presidency 4 times. The Congress decided you can't be president that many times. That's when they amended the Constitution to only allow you to do it twice. In reality, the quote-unquote founding fathers, they wanted you to be able to be president forever if you can be president until you die if you're that good. Like, imagine your country telling you, hey, that president you really like and you think really did right by you and helped you, and under him you had a good economy and you felt like your country flourished, you can only have him for 8 years. That's what they're saying to you now. Now they're saying that's fascism to want that. Crazy. I have to catch up on Candace on those 30-minute day updates be killing me. Washington Street will be sending National Guard. Yeah, AI has been running the country for the last 3 years. So as a member of the military actually running the country, Obama, Jill, Michelle, Nancy. I think it's just been Obama. The same old, the same deep state, CIA, FBI, the intelligence agencies being running the country as always. Arnold says, don't blame those open borders on the so-called black man like Nancy Pelosi. The senator, dude, your commentary, that boy good. I appreciate that. But anyway, in Washington, they're about to install Ferguson. Yeah. Remember last time after the quote-unquote insurrection, they built that whole fort around the, whatchamacallit? They built the whole fort around it and had military out there, National Guard sitting out there for weeks. Because they were, quote unquote, afraid. And then we found out what really happened inside that building. A lot of those people were lying. But anyway, let me speed up, y'all. I'm talking too much. My bad.
Hey, though, Bakari, he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this. And the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not ever.
I think she's referring to what happened in, what do they call it? Martial law, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kiefer.
Everywhere, like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker.
We literally have video of Biden. Biden has been in politics since, the 70s? We got video of him for the last 40-something years talking. He talked just fine. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you sent Ferguson, her attorney general. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that confused. About to install Ferguson. I know what you mean. Tired of her. Does she get cut too if Kamala lose another win for me? Oh, yeah, she definitely became a star. Not a star, but she definitely became the center of this political talks, considering they're trying to make Kamala black. And they didn't want the center of discussion on CNN to be a white woman. So she definitely got that DEI worked out. That DEI job worked out for her right here. But yeah, we've seen him talk for decades. He talked just fine. When he started suffering from possible dementia and his brain faculty started lowering, he started talking worse. He talked just fine in 2014. What are you talking about? And that thumbnail, white dude favors the 10-man the lion. Oh, yeah. Biden definitely was a big speaker when he spoke against my community in Congress. Exactly. When he called it jungles. Hey, come on, man.
And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me.
They still going with the stuttering lie.
There's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves.
He said the only thing I think is garbage are his supporters. Where's the confusion?
But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week. He's best with union folks as he was in Pittsburgh last week as well.
Key and Peele.
You use people where they are best. You put Obama.
All right, you get the point. So they're trying to make it seem like he said something he didn't say, trying to change the words he used. What is this?
And then remember, I got invited to do the interview with her.
Oh, I'm not gonna show this one. This is Umar talking about getting invited to do an interview with Kamala, but he turned it down. And then the Kamala campaign staff said that's a lie. They never reached out to him. He said they did. I don't know. Let me move forward. But I want to show this. So after Biden's garbage comments, this is what Mark Cuban said.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
So he just called every woman around Trump who were part of his staff. You're saying they're all dumb, weak. Oh, man. Surprised you don't have Mark Lamont crashing out with his new gig with Joe. I didn't show it, but yeah, I'm going to be honest. He's definitely toned down some of his strong talking points when talking to them, but he's still kind of crazy with it. Let me move on. I'm gonna jump through this, y'all. Let me show this. This is what's going on at the polls right now. Why do you guys who pander to Kamala Harris sound sassy? Hey, I'm gonna leave it alone. I see what you're saying though.
Oh, wow. This is my motherfucking right here. Wow. Why is it defending you? I ain't been shut the hell up and let me vote. Okay, we ain't got nothing else to say.
Wow. Now, this guy is a coward. And it's crazy to me, the dynamics. All of these posters are black women. Now, I'm sure this county, because I don't know what county this is. I didn't look up I saw the tweet, but I didn't look at the county. The fact that all of these posters are black women and this white man, he sees there's no men around, so he thinks he's brave enough to talk crazy. But when I saw this video, the first thing I saw was I want to say it was a homosexual black dude blaming black men for not being a part of the poll workers to defend them. And it made me think to a lot of times, and just being honest, whenever these homosexual black dudes talk about straight black men, they always use black men's masculinity as a negative. Violent, beast, dangerous. But whenever it's time to put in work and defend someone, which would require violence or a threat of it, now it's seen as a positive. So you paint these black men as these criminal, violent thugs, but when it's time to defend women, that's a positive thing. Instead of just taking their masculinity as just what it is. It's a bad thing until you want to use it for an attack dog. So I just thought it was crazy.
Wow. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Wow. Wow.
So that's what it led to, a little back and forth, got physical. And it was literally zero men, not just black, it was no men, any of the poll workers. Megyn Kelly is complaining about a GOP being for boys. Says he saves all his strongest arguments to protect Palestinians, speak against AUS. Yeah, Mark Lamont Hill is one of those dudes where you wish he was on the other side. He would be more valuable with different opinions. Even though it's his opinion, his brain, he's the one who's, educated and stuff in the way that he is, but he would be more valuable with different opinions. Which sounds crazy, I know. That's true. That's their talking point. Yeah. So it's just now you want a black man there so that he can beat up the white dude. All right, man. I think that's really a delusion of black LGBT simply because it's a straight black man they sleep with who like them for their femininity, but are also killing them. Let them tell it. Oh, man. All right, we're going to jump through. Early voting, 31 million votes. I know this was a couple of days ago, so I know it's more now. The Democrats nationally are leading in the amount of votes. Pennsylvania, they're dominating and they need to win Pennsylvania to win. The Democrats, or Kamala, she needs to win Pennsylvania. And as far as right now, she's winning 59 to 30, 59% of it at least. But in Nevada and Arizona, and allegedly 40% of the national vote so far, or at least at this point, was going towards the Democrats. Unless you expect Democrats to be voting for Trump. And also most of the votes so far, the early votes at least, have been women. Lamont swears on the Bible he ADOS. I seen a tweet or something of him saying that he's Jamaican or Haitian. I can't remember, but he's denied that and said that he was joking. I don't know. Margot says, damn, CN. Yeah, she be talking crazy, Gordon. Quick one, unprecedented surge in election threats swamp U.S. authorities. So now they're saying that there's foreign entities, governments, states that are attacking the U.S. election. They're saying that they're being hacked. Georgia said there was a hack during the voting. It slowed down, but it didn't stop. But they were able to fix it. It's right here. I ain't got to read it, though. Foreign country, allegedly. Probably going to say it was Russia. Then you have why we might not get a presidential winner on election night. There was a time we would, on election night, watch the election votes come in, and by 2 a.m, maybe even before midnight, we would know the winner. So we would be able to celebrate the winner or anguish in the winner the same night. Now, just like last election, they're saying that we're going to have to wait weeks to count the votes. They're saying it's because there's more mail-in votes and votes might arrive late and all that stuff. We got to count every vote. They've been running the election the same way for decades. Really, only now do they need more time to count the votes. When we have the most technology, everything's electronic at this point, but now we need more time to count. Yeah, okay. I says claims he don't know who started that narrative, but it goes back to his tweet. Yeah, it's crazy. Then he said it was a joke. He said he don't know where it started. Then he said it was a joke he didn't mean. A lot going on. The Democrats have no place for black men and traditional values. I don't got to read that one. We've been talking about it already. We show this one right here. This is the last tab here, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. Translation, we need more time to cheat. Yeah, we need more time. You know, we got to count these votes.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Mark says it's all about the ratings. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. TV ratings. So we're going to keep this anticipation, draw this out so that you'll keep up every day when we give you updates on what's happening, which might be why they want Trump back in office, because he helps with the ratings. The numbers are down. Anonymous says the fear mongering to increase the racist whites turnout. I don't care what nobody say. Maybe. Stacy Abrams, black men who don't support Kamala are sexist racists. Now, she didn't exactly say it exactly like this. Is a Daily Wire, so, you know, they lean more right. So they're definitely taking her words and pushing it as far as they can. Stacey Abrams this week accused black men who are not supporting Vice President Kamala Harris' presidential campaign of being racist and sexist. The Georgia Democrat, who has denied the results of the election that she lost when she twice ran to become the state's governor and lost both times to Republican Governor Brian Kemp. To this day, they on that side of the political aisle is on Killer Mike ass. To this day. Was asked about remarks from Georgia pastor who recently said that misogyny was still real in the black community and was the reason for Abrams' loss. I know it's a shock to everyone, but sexism remains real and a very pertinent issue. Abrams claimed that Harris is doing very well among black men. Even polling has found that Harris is not doing as well with black voters as past Democratic presidential candidates, and former President Donald Trump has a higher support from the community of any Republican presidential candidate since 1960. Remember I told y'all 1960 Civil Rights Acts come? The Civil Rights Act come, and all of a sudden the black American vote just completely go Democrat. 1960, around 1968 or whatever, going into the 70s, it just went completely Democrat. And it's been going up and up and up until 2008 when it went to the highest it's ever been. And steadily every year it's been declining. So it's going back to where it was. Also, ratings, so the Mendez brothers story ain't holding them over with the rating. Stacy got go to bed, mama. LGBT and whites didn't vote for you in any offering them everything. The Civil Rights Act was the Indian Rights Act first, then changed. They like to take a lot of laws and redress them and sell them to another demographic. However, we do have acknowledged that there is sexism, there is racism, she later added. There are challenges in our electorate that's why it's so important that Kamala is going everywhere and talking to everyone. She respects voters. She meets with them when what they are, and she refuses to be told that she has lost a cohort, lost a community simply because she's different. Yeah. Stacy, I'm surprised she completely left politics. Did y'all watch the Black Men Summit? This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, then we're going to get up out of here. Did y'all watch the Black Men Summit? Virginia said, I couldn't find proof, but in identity politics, isn't Stacy partnered with a white woman? I haven't seen any proof of that. When she was asked about her dating life, she actually said she was single. That was in like 2019, 2020, 2021? She was asked about it. But yeah, they did make a joke that she was with a white woman in one of those pictures, but I don't know if it turned out to be true or not. He said, I haven't watched BET in 10 years. Keeper says, didn't watch. Virginia says, nope, much ado about nothing, because wasn't it mostly Kamala Loud? Yeah, exactly. It was mainly the Honorable DNC program. It was them just supporting, trying to convince and bully and gaslight and virtue signal, convince black men that they should vote for Kamala. They even at some point, let me show this first part. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I just want to play this first part if I still got it. Seconds, he says something that was just hilarious to me.
Black women. Every time. Dear black men, every time a presidential election rolls around, they're telling you that this is the most consequential election in generations. This time for us, it may actually be true. When was the last time America asked black men what we wanted? And I know what it's like to not be asked what you want. I'm married to a black woman. But I promise you, it's not a trick question. Tonight, we're going to explore the issues that matter to us. Now, whether you support Kamala, ride with Trump, or plan to stay home, let's have a real conversation among us, black men, about what's really at stake in this election.
So he said it. He was acting like it was non-biased, just, hey, everybody's side. What do we really want? Yeah, everybody is showing in this picture right now is pushing for Kamala. So what's the point of even bringing up the people who would support Trump or independent, in the middle? What about third-party candidates? The fact that I see Lil Scrappy in the crowd, I'm sorry, y'all, I just saw this. Why the Lil Scrappy and Vic Mensa is in the crowd right now? What the Mark Gordon, does everyone hate us black men? I mean, everyone and their mama want to be black while telling me I don't have a culture and identity. I'll say this. Some of our mindsets, when you look around and you see certain things said, it can make you have that idea that everybody hate me. I would say that's not a healthy mindset. You should only care about the people that you love, loving you. It don't matter who like you or not. Deal with those who deal with you in your community. Now, I will say, when it comes to intracommunal struggles, as I've said before, unfortunately, because of the history and the way our community has been taught through schools and programming and media, black women have a small sense of contempt towards black men because history has told them black men never protected you. Look, y'all was getting raped and killed by these white men, and they ain't do nothing. They ran. They cowards. So it's created some small resentment that may even be subconscious sometimes. But no, I don't think everybody outside of black people. Now we talking about the world, yes. And I ain't gonna get into it, but that's some passed down historical ancient hatred that will be revealed in the end times. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm talking about intracommunal, it's just programming, man. Does child tax credits matter much to black men? I would imagine it does. Although I did see a bunch of black men on the internet getting their back kicked in talking about child support. They was getting killed for bringing up child support, but the fact that there are some things that exist with child support that need to be dealt with, but it's one of those things where because child support is money that's supposed to be for your kid, when you even say anything about it, it looks like you're just a piece of shit who don't want to pay money to your kid. But there's a lot of stipulations that come with child support. It ain't just you need to pay money. It's your passport, driver's license. A lot of things become up in the air with that stuff, but it is what it is. This man let a boy get away with assaulting his child. I can't hear nothing. What is actually offering to black men weed? She prosecuted black men for that. Couldn't sit through the shit. I need this photo, not supporting shit from this group of men ever again. All right, man. All right, so they went through and talked about a whole bunch of, but it's funny to me, and this is me being honest, a sit-down, a summit about black men's desires turned into a support or a defense of black women. So at a time when you're supposed to be talking about black men and what they want, they spent time to say we need to create space for black women. And no offense, black women got like 5 award shows. You had a whole Black Girls Rock. Black women got their own channel, BET Her. Like when you talk about creating a space, like come on, man. I'm just gonna run through some of this. D.L. Hughley and Jermaine Dupri remind us that Donald Trump was not responsible for the stimulus check. Kenny Burns told us why black male voters were thinking, yada, yada, yada. Vic Mensa made space for black women. He been pandering for a while now. He had to go fake gay to try and clean his image up. And now he's, this pro-black woman dude. Michael Ealy weighed in on Kamala Harris' qualifications as president, and so on and so forth. Ben Crump spoke on the importance of supporting our community's LGBTQ members. So it wasn't enough to support black men. We need to point out there's gay black men. It's not enough that we talk about black men issues that would affect gay black men or whatever. We need to make a space for everybody in this black man conversation. Our community let these men talk about how feeding and housing women and children hurt them for years. They have no shame. Black Girl Rock was short-lived. They stole that from a girl tweet, doomed from the start. Politics, politricks, and lies is nasty. Business just lies upon manipulation. Yeah, this was all, we know what this really was. It was a sponsored event. Now I'm going to show this little tiny clip of Kamala on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay.
My mother, she understood that there is a community that she wanted her children to be raised in. Mm-hmm. And she was very intentional and purposeful about that. And so I always say to people, even when I took the stage as the nominee for the Democratic nomination, that, there is the family that you have by birth, and there is also the family you have by love. And they're equally family, yes. Right? And I learned that from my mother.
So this was her backtracking in her book by saying that man was her uncle and those women were her aunts, and then admitting that those were family friends. So now all those black people she showed and called aunt and uncle, she's admitting, oh no, those were just friends of the family, but they're like family. So she's trying to say that you're black by love and association, not through blood.
So my mother, I had all these aunties and uncles. My Uncle Sherman, who was one of the first black men to graduate from Berkeley School of Law, who, when we were young girls, sat us down and taught us how to play chess, because Uncle Sherman said, you need to understand how the chessboard works, because that's the way the world works. There are going to be different players with different moves, mm-hmm. and you need to see the...
Ain't that from the movie Fresh? I'm not saying black people have been saying that. I'm not saying that it's the only time it was used. But why I get the feeling they're using that scene from the movie Fresh to give her a backstory. Says long face, no way y'all believe she's black. Is that her new name is the Joker from Batman and Robin. Her voice.
The whole board. Mm-hmm. My mother raised us around, like my Auntie Chris, who went to Howard in the 50s and pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha. And she was one of my incredible role models growing up.
All right, we get it. She's laying it on. All right, we get it. Mark Gordon, this is a magical Negro crap. I can't stand it. But then it says, did any of you guys ever watch Homicide Life on the Streets with Andre? No, I haven't seen that. Kamala reminds me of Luther Mahoney. No, I've never seen it. I might check it out. We're going to say, Duke, you stay on my head because everything you just stated about the black story being created from her is the truth. All right, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to read the headline. Hindu phobia makes Kamala Harris' identity a liability. So she is black in the U.S. media. This is in 2020. They're telling us that there's such thing as Hindu phobia in America. That's why she has to be black. Oh, they have an advantage being black in America. Hindu phobia, it's just such a big thing in America that she can't be Indian. No wonder the wealthy and influential but largely Democratic Indian American community has not yet welcomed Kamala Harris' candidature as warmly as it might expect it. Good, let her loss as an Indian woman get away from the black narrative now. Who wrote this? This was written by, I can't say that name, it's an Indian name. Let me zoom in. This is written in 2020, an Indian man. He's saying that it's racism. Hindu phobia is why she can't be Indian. Damn, just when you think the BS couldn't get any worse. All right, a few clips. I'm not going to show these, a few clips. So I'm just going to run like 10 seconds of each.
Now, being Trump, what is your view of VP Harris and a record when it comes to criminal justice?
You know, as a civil rights lawyer, I got to interact with Vice President Harris when she was the Attorney General of California. We were not on the same size, but I saw her passion.
Wait, hold on. He's a civil rights lawyer he wasn't on the same side as her. Now, I know he mean in the court he had to, he had the people he had to, his clients weren't normally people that were trying to stay out of jail. Her job was to put people in jail. But the fact that she was on the opposite side tells you of a person you're considering innocent says a lot.
To do the right thing and her passion to try to help black people. When we think about it, DL, you have to think that this is a sister who grew up in Oakland, California, and
Didn't she grow up in Canada? All right, man, I can't do it. This is just a slaughter fest for her.
I'm telling you.
Ain't this the dude who did the protest in was it Alabama? Him and an old buddy did a whole protest where they walked out and they were expunged from their job, but they got it back. You know, the activists. Again, more BS because it's Indians from India who can't stand black the other way around. Now the lying crook. Canada stopped lying. So the wealthiest group let them tell it was a cosplay black in America to win. You know what? They wouldn't just, by the way, end like the Jews. Afro Goofy, that's him. Fake outrage dude from Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, that's him. I'm sorry, I say Alabama. Memphis, Tennessee. Virginia says the niggas is noggin. the niggas is nigging because she grew up in Canada and attended a wealthy high school before Marx's mama decided she needed a black story for the future. Back to the Future-ish. Oh, it got me off guard. Niggas is nigging. Oh, man.
I'm telling you, and the fro, baby. And the fro, baby. You know what's always interesting? We hear about the polls.
Oh, and this also shows, last point I'm going to make about this, and I'm going to run through this. D.L. Hughley been stumping hard for Kamala, and it just so happened he gets the opportunity to host this show, Black Men Summit on BET. This goes with the idea that these people are looking for jobs. That's it. It's just, even on the other side, a lot of those people who are pro-Trump, it's just looking for a check, an opportunity. It's looking for a job. That black political industry, that pundit industry, the commentary industry that exists where these black people get to act like they're leaders and thought leaders of the black community because they're able to get in front of the camera on CNN and MSNBC, or they get to go on some podcast and be the quote-unquote thought leaders. They're just looking for an opportunity. Angela Rye, Benjamin Crump, the ambulance chaser, this guy here from Memphis, Tennessee, who pulled that stunt off. They're just looking for a job, looking for work, consistent work, because they know if Trump get back in office, they're going to have to pivot. It's going to be a wash. A lot of these people have been doing this for at least 10, 15, 20 years. They're getting old in the tooth, long in the tooth, I mean. So it's time to, recycle in, bring in the new people. He's one of the new people that's supposed to be coming in. So a lot of these people trying to just keep their position. When you talk about, what's his name, Roland Martin and all these other people, they're trying to just keep their position as thought leaders for the black community. He tries to talk like MLK. Now he tries to talk like Obama. Told you. MLK and Obama are the cheat code. That pastor voice of MLK, and then Obama had that pastor-ish voice too. The children of white passing, why he up there? Michael Ealy.
And one of the things I know for sure, the quickest way to make a black man lie to you is walk up to him and ask him a question with a clipboard in your hand. Believe that.
All right, we can move on now. What else is this?
What was your reaction when you heard President Obama say that?
Well, there are some men who don't want to vote for a woman.
We went through this already. Let me just run through this some more. Michael Ealy saying, I was going to get into this one, but this is a longer topic, so I'm going to save it for next week, which will be after the election, I know. But yeah, I'm going to save this. This is the guy that be on Jason Whitlock's show where he talked about them supporting, protecting black women and how you want to protect black women, but you're pushing for abortion. And then there's a whole commercial dedicated to quote-unquote women's rights, and it's all about, abortion. But I won't get into it this week. I'll just save it. Oh, and Cardi B spoke at Kamala Harris rally. By the way, I'm pretty sure a couple of days ago, she just threatened somebody with gang violence. I've never seen someone be able to threaten, admit to crimes, all type of stuff, and still get all type of endorsements and sponsorships and all type of opportunities. This woman was interviewing Sha'Carri Richardson at the Olympics. This woman, she admitted to drugging men. She admitted to robbing men. She admitted to it and said she would do it again and lost no sponsorships. We saw, what's his name, Rick Ross, make a song where in the song he had a lyric that said he'll put a pill in a woman's drink, and he lost a sponsorship. And I'm not mad with that. Hey, it is what it is. Watch what you say. This woman says the craziest stuff, and it's not a headline. It's not any only people that really say something are people that are interacting with these tweets or these posts she's making on the internet. The rest of the media don't even speak on it. They just ignore it. It's crazy. And it just rub it off at that's just her. That's just how she talks. It's insane world we in, man.
Trump says.
Trump says. I don't know if I've seen anybody else read directly off their phone the speech they were given to read.
He's going to protect women whether they like it or not. Well, if his definition of protection is not the freedom of choice.
Good Lord. I'm not even, whatever, man. I know, right? NYC immigrant behavior. It's the broken English. Try it. All right. We can skip this last part. Yeah, I'll skip the rest of this part. We're number 3 more things up. Ain't nothing much. I'll play this last little video and we'll get up out of here. Duke, you're saying that Cardi B has white privilege. It seemed like it. Either she has like real ties to somebody in the industry. Her handlers are very powerful people. She's an asset to somebody of real importance. Because she say the most flagrant stuff and it's not even a topic for anybody. The man, didn't she wish death on her? She wished death on her father of her kids. I did not know. I don't care what nobody say. I don't see real women. I see hermaphrodites. Immigrants and ghetto privilege. All right, let me show this last thing.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The path may seem hard, the work may seem heavy, but joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way.
This was it was crazy when she did this speech and tried to sound like this, like a pastor. Speaking of Martin Lamont Hill, he immediately came to her defense and said, the people who are the people who are criticizing this have a misunderstanding of black culture. So now if I'm looking at Kamala Harris as a fake, I don't know black culture. Are you serious? Mark Lamont Hill was trying to defend that, and everybody was just like, all right, man, we let you get away with a lot of simping stuff, but this is just egregious. Like, come on, bro. He said, yes, she did that. Good memory. She might have contributed to some big-time Democratic senators in New York State. Well, she threatening gang violence with the Brim cartel Bloods. So maybe she got some deep ties to some criminal organization. Maybe somebody should call the authorities. I don't know. Fake Coretta Scott King. Arnold said they need to let the black Brits teach them how to do better Southern accents. Damn shame, ain't it? All right, how long do I keep y'all up here? I know this is longer than it's been in a while, probably. 2 hours, that's not that long. That's normal. 240. Healthy, I guess. At this point, she fake black, fake Indian, fake Southern. They're just fake Regina. Right. Anyway, man, we went through it all. We talked about it. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Really appreciate y'all coming through and supporting. Oh, what up, Katie? So fake, they make me sick. Regina, great show as typical. Have a strong end and everyone as a weak one until you start again on Monday and purple blue face. They didn't show you your emoji. Says he really Indian from both parents. Nothing fake about that. Anyway, man, be sure to like on your way out. Subscribe if you're not. Share it if you can. Be sure to be back next week. Try to be more consistent. I'm definitely gonna do more uploads. I've been not uploading as much as I should. Definitely gonna cut this stuff up, make some shorts and stuff. But yeah, be sure to like it on your way out. Appreciate the support. Y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.